Wop, bop, loo, bop, wop, bam, boom. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Pugs Moran here, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the beautiful south side of Chicago. And what promises to be another scorcher. That's right. We'll get into the heat situation. We talk about current events, hot topics, whatever it is that people are buzzing about, whether it be on the socials or maybe around the water cooler. Do people do that anymore? Not even sure. Don't even know that water coolers are a thing. Don't even know that offices are a thing. So I guess we get all of our small talk now from the internets. And that's what we do here every day for 5 years. Around about noon, I offer you a non-partisan, non-right, non-left, just a normal common sense working class dude in the middle. We're going to talk about that working class situation today. Jobs came out, job numbers come out, and they ain't good. They ain't good. We'll get into this. I mean, it's not just that they ain't good, but the expectation, the public it's not good. We'll talk about that. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about the heat. I mentioned that. Not a whole lot about the heat. I mean, because come on, weather talk. Although, I can turn my nose up at weather talk, and then I watch Max Velocity on YouTube, and he's got like 50 billion followers. So, weather is a thing. Everybody's got their thing. Every little micro niche, if you can exploit, what do I always say about this new world of digital content creation? In the age of broadcasting, there were only a couple of platforms. You had your ABCs, your NBCs, your CBS, only a couple of platforms. So you had to create content that was put out to everyone. It's not, you didn't have to go to a website specifically. I guess you had to tune a channel, but it's not like it was free to the air. That's broadcasting. You casted your content broadly out to anybody that can get it. You weren't specifically interested in people who had niche interests. No, you were broadcasting. Well, digital made it a little bit different. We can go a la carte. It's the whole idea of the spectrum, the rainbow, right? With broadcasting, you wanted every color. You wanted to get some yellow and some green. And are those even the colors of the spectrum? I don't even know. It's Pride. We just left Pride Month, and I still don't know what the colors of the rainbow are. That's a failure, gay community. That's a failure on your part. Anyway, with broadcasting, you would go for all the colors of the rainbow because you were broadly casting. But with digital, you could just be like, in the case of weather, something that I wouldn't think would be, a cornerstone of any successful digital enterprise. But weather is just a single color of the spectrum. So as in broadcasting, we get the whole rainbow. Just give me a little bit of all the colors. Now with digital, we can go specific. And that's probably why weather and Max Velocity has like 50 billion followers. So, okay. I don't do that. I do very general talk, which might explain our problems. However, one place we don't have problems, and that is with the chat room. These are some of the most dedicated people that you will find anywhere. Small group, tight-knit group, bone marrow group. That's right. There's a group of people that if one of them needed bone marrow, I bet you could find a match within the coop. We're calling it the coop now. That was a suggestion from, I think, Peter there today in the what was previously known as the chat room. It is now known as the coop because all of the Denzians of this coop are my chickens. That little idea was stumbled across in the chat room before we hit go on the stream. So I'm running with it. Peter, great idea. The chat room is now the coop. So let's find out who is on the podium at the coop. We like to award a podium just like F1 does. We reward first place, second place, and third place. These are the people who, in my mind, are waiting outside the door of the chat room for it to open. They're the first three in. Who is today's podium on the coop? I don't know. I got to figure out how to say that. It doesn't feel good. Anyway, today's podium, first place. I mean, my God, she's the Lewis Hamilton of the chat room. She is Taronda. Very good. First in. Taronda, followed by Peter, followed by Mikey D. Thank you, Mikey D. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Taronda, for always being excited and here. Well, I don't know if you're excited. I shouldn't really extrapolate that. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here first. Let's see. We also need to mention, a new thing that we're doing today because it is the second day of June and this show runs on your tips. So tip the damn show, please. we got some tippers yesterday, and thank you, because here's what we're doing now. Everybody who tips for the month, we're just going to put it up. It's July the 2nd. Here are our heroes of July. Maddie is going to be on the show today. Maddie wrote a really cool article for a local paper down there in Louisiana. It's about a planned Elon Musk doing something to, barn swallows, or, Elon Musk is going to do something down there, and Maddie has some thoughts on it, and we're going to talk about that. We'll have Maddie on today, probably in the 1 o'clock hour. Very good. So thank you to Maddie. Thank you to Peter. Peter went missing on his first day back. He's like, here's a tip. I'm like, oh, that's not why I was worried. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's partly why, because Peter is a very staunch supporter of this little enterprise, and I do appreciate it. But good to have Peter back. Thank you, Peter. I'm glad everything seems to be okay. Also today, tipping already this month, we need to thank Barney. Barney's going to tip 5 times this month. And it's just so thank you. Thank you, Barney. Appreciate you, man. All right. So there you have it. Those are July's heroes. Are we going to add any names to it? Well, I hope that we do. And you can do that easily by going to Venmo or Cash App and dropping something and supporting this kind of talk radio, which doesn't carry water for any particular interests, special or otherwise. Certainly doesn't identify as a Republican or a Democratic show. We are the middle. We are the working class. We're the ones who are going to be carrying the torches and pitchforks. That's right. Torches and pitchforks time is coming for us, the working class here in America. Okay. Let's see. What are some of the things we're going to talk about? I think I already told you the heat. I can't get past the heat. It's so hot. It's so stupid hot. It's way hotter in Chicago today than it is in Dallas. So don't be like, you can't handle it. Well, maybe it was hotter yesterday in Dallas. I don't know. Whatever. It's what is it currently? Oh, geez. Do we need to even do this now? All right, let's see here. What is it? What am I dealing with here? 92. All right, 92 ain't bad. That ain't bad. But it's going to go up to 96, 97, and that's going to be bad. Because not everybody here in the great Midwest, not everybody here in the Great Lakes portion of the upper Midwest have air conditioning. Don't really use it. Use it maybe in a couple weeks in July and maybe a couple of weeks in August, but that's it. So most people can toughen that out when the high temperatures are maybe at worst 90, but no, we're going above 90, so that sucks. Washington, D.C., man, that sucks. Washington, D.C. is really getting hammered, so we'll cover that. We'll talk a little bit about the heat and about what we can expect over the 4th of July weekend. We're expecting thunderstorms here. That's what we're going to get. Our 4th of July is going to suck. Looks like it's going to rain. We got to talk about the jobs. I mentioned that the jobs numbers aren't great. We won't spend a whole lot of time on that, but we will mention it because I'm looking for work and I can't find work. Couldn't even get hired in a warehouse at an Amazon facility. Told you that story a couple of weeks ago. Went in for the interview. Thought I killed it. My resume rocks. They should put me in charge of the entire place. Look at my resume. And they said, no, you can't stack boxes. We don't want you to stack boxes. We're going to hire somebody else to stack boxes because, I don't know, you're old for one thing. Actually, a friend of mine who works in the employment sector, he runs a headhunting thing. I reached out to him and I'm like, why can't I get a job at Amazon? And he said something that registered with me and made me feel a little bit better because, when you can't get a job at Amazon, with all due respect to people who work at Amazon, but those are the jobs that are promised to us. That's it. Package delivery, gig food, all of that. Those are all they say we have left. So when I can't even get, and it was a pretty good paying job. I think it was $26 an hour, right? When I can't get that job, I take it personal. I take it why can't I lift boxes? Why did you hire 1,000 people a month here? How come I'm not one of them? Anyway, I took it very personal. But my friend who's the hiring manager, he said something that kind of made me feel better. He said, don't take that personal. This person is trying to fill jobs, many of which are transient jobs. People come and they go and they got to hire. That's why there's such heavy turnover. That person probably looked at your resume and said, this person is going to take the next best available job that comes to them. So why waste our time? And I kind of smiled a little and I thought, well, I hope that's true. I hope that's true because that makes me feel a little bit better. I mean, I think I'm good in interviews. I think I'm pretty, hey, how you doing? I'm not over the top. Like, I'm appropriate and all that. Anyway, we'll talk about the jobs numbers, but probably not much because I just basically spilled my whole thing. We're going to check in with the World Cup. I feel really remiss in my duties here as a pop culture pundit that I have totally been ignoring the World Cup. In my defense, though, it's not like a necessarily biased thing against soccer because they do the same thing with the basketball tournament, the college basketball tournament. I used to be in on the basketball tournament from day one, selection day. It was always the Sunday night after the Southside Irish Parade here, St. Patrick's Day. It was always, you'd get drunk at the bars and then you'd watch at 6 or 7 o'clock, you'd watch the selection show. It was a tradition. Nah, I don't do that anymore. I tune in for like the Sweet 16. When you get to the Sweet 16, then I'll start watching your stupid little basketball tournament. That's when I'm interested. Same thing kind of applies to the World Cup. I guess there's been a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of countries I never heard of. I don't care about that. Well, now I guess it's time we need to pay attention. So we're going to do a World Cup segment today. We're going to bring in my friend Aaron, who is a soccer expert. He's my soccer expert. He knows everything about soccer. Full ride scholarship to SMU, goalie, dicked around professionally for a number of years until he decided to become a fancy car guy. Anyway, point is this. He's going to explain to me what happened last night in the World Cup, because apparently on the eve of our nation's 250th birthday, we did something cool, Team USA. So we'll talk to Aaron today, and I'll let him try and explain why I should care about the World Cup. Let's see, what else we're going to do here. We got to bring you up to speed on the Empire State hotties. Remember those two? Guys, I don't know what's wrong with me. I have like I'm really attracted to that girl. I'm really attracted to the building climbing girl. And she's taken now. Right in front of our eyes, she got proposed to. She was snatched. We knew her for so short a time. I saw the small of the nape of her neck and the small of her back exposed as she dangled from the top of the Empire State Building, and I thought, who is that woman? And then she got proposed to. Right there. I'm like, fuck. That's the problem. Good ones are always snapped up. And yeah, I think some crazy Russian bitch who climbs buildings is a good one. That's me. Maybe that's my own issue. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll bring you up to speed on what the latest there is. They have been charged with a whole bunch of stuff. They're out walking the streets, free to climb the nearest CVS they find or whatever. Anyway, we'll bring you up to speed on all that. We're going to talk to Maddie. Maddie's going to come on. I mentioned that. So we'll get into that as well in the 1 o'clock hour. We got some, we're going to dive into some petty weirdness. Pettiness is what's really bothering me about the current state of political discourse in this country. It is so petty. So petty. I'm going to give you some examples of the pettiness that is coming. It's not something that's exclusive to one side or the other. Both sides are incredibly petty. So I'll be giving you a couple of examples of how both sides are just a bunch of petty bitches. All right. And then, we'll do some videos and all that stuff. Oh, there's also a new trend, a new fetish trend. Not that I'm having a whole lot of sex these days, but there is a new trend that you might be interested in. That's right. It's a litmus test. You better not be interested in this fetish, okay? All right. Anyway, we'll get into that. It's race play. Race play. BDSM race play. I'll explain to you how it goes down and why people are into it. I can tell you why they say they're into it. I don't know. It's just a very weird situation. All right. So we got a whole bunch of stuff that we need to get into today, but let me now check back in on the coop. The coop is what we're calling it now, and say hi to the rest of the people who are the early goers here in the chat room. The coop room, if you will. We told you that the podium today is Taronda, Peter, and Mike. Hi, guys. Then after Taronda, Peter, and Mike, let's see, what else do we have? We got Barney. Heidi-ho, Barney. We've got Taronda. Okay, Al is here. There we go. I have to keep scrolling to find the new people. We got Mikey D. I mentioned Mikey D. We got Al. We got Peter. We got Taronda. That's it. Are you kidding me? It's the same 10 people just talking? Well, that's nice. Byron's here. There we go. Byron's here. April's here. There's my girl. Jen's here. All right, my people are showing up. Here we go. Starting to feel better about this whole mess. Who else do we have? Frankie. Frankie's here. Hi, Frankie. Frankie, watch out. People are gunning for you. People are gunning for you, Frankie. I heard that you started in the chat room complaining about First Amendment rights and stuff. You know that shit doesn't apply in chat rooms, right? You know that these are private entities and that the whole First Amendment protections that allow you to say terrible things, that's only in the context of the government making rules that would say you can't, or laws that say you can't say. You get that, right, Frank? I know you do. I know you do. Frank, I think, yelled at Maddie yesterday about her violating his First Amendment rights, which is either an example of pettiness on Frank's part or an example that Frank really doesn't understand what the First Amendment protects and how that works. You can't. I can censor anybody. Oh, look at what I did. Would you look at what I did? We don't like this. My big dumb thumbs. I can censor anybody that I want in my chat room. There's no violation of anyone's natural born constitutional right. If I think you're an asshole, I can say I don't want you here. And that's not a violation of your First Amendment rights. Peter says he's peachy. In reference to, I don't know. Peter, I hope you're well. That's what I hope. I don't give a fuck about Peachy. I hope you're well, because I was concerned. And, we're dudes of the same age, and we're starting to, you disappear like that without letting anybody know. Although, watch, I bet Peter let everybody know. He probably said in the chat room, hey, Kim and I are going. See, that's how close I am to Peter. I know his whole family. All right. Let's see here. Anybody else I need to address? Billy Falk, there he is. Hi, Billy. Billy's in there. Ross is here. Brown Hoke, look at that. Hola. So Bill says here, Bill says now, he probably wrote this before we renamed the chat room the Coop Room. Bill says here that how the hell are you, chatters? Should it be Coopers? Should it be how the hell are you, Coopers? I think it should. Maybe that's the way we go with it. All right. Hold on. I got to do something. I got stuff spread out all over the place here. More chat room people. Come on in. Say hi. I got to do something here. I'm already behind schedule. All right. Let's get into the show. Let me run through a couple of things at the top here. First and foremost, heat. It's hot. Let's check out the heat ratings. That's right. The national heat map. Let's see who's hot. Who's hot and who's not? Well, I think everybody's hot right now because we're Americans. All Americans are hot. What is that? I don't want that one. I want this one to be big. All right, let's look at... Nope, that ain't going to work. Try that one. There we go. All right, let's see. What are we looking at here? Holy shit, the temperatures have gone up markedly in the last couple of minutes. I checked in on this heat map. I don't know, about an hour ago in Chicago was still at just 90. We've gone up 8 degrees in the last hour. 98 degrees here in Chicago. Look at that. Dallas, 97. 97. We are much hotter than you. Where is the hot spot? Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, remember what I told you? Oh, my God. Holy crap. Holy. 108 degrees in Washington, D.C., 108 degrees in New York City, 103 degrees in Boston, 101 degrees in Atlanta, 106 degrees in Charlotte, 103 degrees in Louisville, 103 degrees in Memphis, 100 degrees in Jackson, and 100 degrees in St. Louis. Holy cow. Yeah, look at this. It's this whole thing. So I'm not a weather guy, but is this because of the Rocky Mountains? Like it comes up from Mexico. All the stuff comes from Mexico. Comes up from Mexico. It's really hot. It gets pinned in by the Rocky Mountains and then gets sucked up by the Great Lakes. And then we have this. We have everybody in the central portion of America sweltering today. Anything else? Yeah, that sucks. That sucks for us. Look, Dallas, I know you guys at 97, you're like, what are you talking about? It's Thursday in July, you pussies. And you'd be right. But you guys are built for this. Texas, everything has air conditioning. When you get up into New York City, 108 degrees. When you get up into Boston and you start talking about 5-6 floor walk-ups that have been built since, I don't know, 1910, right? These things do not have air conditioning. Some have window units, some are modernized and all that. But in many cases, a lot of the people, and most of them are old people living in rent-controlled apartments that they've lived in for years and years, they just don't have access to air conditioning the way people who are used to 108 degrees do. So there's going to be dead people. It's going to be a lot of dead people in New York, in Boston, in Philadelphia, in Washington. It's not going to be good. Possibly Chicago as well. If we get over 100, I told you the story about, I think it was 1994, when we had a couple of days over 100 degrees and like hundreds and hundreds of old people died. So this could be bad. Heat. All right. Hold on. Turns out I just signed out of my Google. Google signed me out. They do this all the time. Hold on. I mean, it's the page I've been working on all morning nonstop. Of course, they would go, "You're not using this anymore." Make me sign in again. Hold on. I hope this is the password. Doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. You ever do that? You do a password that you use every day for the same thing, and you're like, I don't feel right about that. I don't know. Anyway, it is. It works good. All right, we're back up and running. All right, here's what I want to do at the start, though, because, it is a couple of days here short of our 250th birthday. And by the way, there's another story out today that says American pride is at an all-time low. It's still over 50%, so don't get it twisted. Still, American pride is at an all-time low. So maybe our World Cup soccer team can deliver us a little thing to be proud of here on the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday. But I don't know dick about soccer. So because of that, I need to bring it. Hold on. Oh, geez. Forgot to do this. I got to make him a caption. We got to call my buddy Aaron. Aaron is a soccer expert, and I understand that something occurred in the U.S. versus Czechoslovakia game. Czechoslovakia is not even a country anymore. I don't know who they played. They played somebody I never heard of. They played some new country that was made up. I don't know. Anyway, they won it on some controversial. I don't even know what a red card is. I got to be honest. I don't know what a red card is. I think it's bad. And there either was or there wasn't. Anyway, good things apparently happened for Team USA. We're going to talk to somebody who's going to answer all my stupid questions. Hopefully get us through this whole thing. Let me just do this very stupidly. All right, there we go. All right, we're going to do this right now. So let's find out what's going on with the World Cup. And by the way, if you do want to drop a little something in the Cash App or the Venmo, please feel free. I'll add your name to the Wall of Fame for July. First, let's do some. Here we go. All right, we'll call my buddy Aaron. He said he'd be around. He said he'd answer. He knows all about soccer. He doesn't know anything about baseball, though. He refuses to acknowledge baseball as America's pastime because I think he's got communist blood, probably because he was raised Cuban.
Who was raised?
Okay, all right. You weren't supposed to hear that part. That was just... I was suggesting that you like soccer because you have communist Cuban blood. That's what I was suggesting.
Or just because I played my entire life.
Yes, but why did you play your entire life? Why, as a 5-year-old, were you introduced to soccer and not baseball? Like a good American boy.
Baseball. I played baseball like a good American boy, but I was bored on the baseball field.
Oh, really? Because you'd rather just sit in a soccer goal for 2 hours? That's more fun?
As a youth, I wasn't a goalkeeper, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Aaron is with us. We call him Aaron Soccerman. He's an expert in the world of soccer. Now, I'm just going to start out with some really basic questions because I don't know anything. Look, if they get into a championship game, I'm there. I'm cracking beers. I'm eating wings. We're having fun because it's America. And look, we're about to win something. But what happened yesterday with Team USA? First of all, answer this question. Is Team USA, as it currently sits in this World Cup tournament, is Team USA any good?
Yes.
Why? because they never have been, right? I mean, explain to me why I need to start watching this Team USA.
Well, first of all, we're hosting the tournament, and you've seen all the good it's done. People actually like the USA that come over here, which I think helps the country. But second, soccer-wise, we've got a lot of good players. And now, sadly, they all go play in Europe, so we don't see them all the time. But soccer fans do because we watch them. But the players on the team are playing with the best players in the world all year long, every year. So the team is solid.
So that's interesting to me because I think it does make a good point as to why someone like me who considers himself a sports fan isn't as familiar with this team. You're right. The World Baseball Classic, I watched Italy play Czechia, right, in the World Baseball Classic, because a lot of the players in that tournament I was familiar with through Major League Baseball. So maybe if professional soccer in this country was a little bit more high profile, and I know it's gaining, the Messi thing and all that. I know it's growing, but maybe that's the reason, that because there isn't, Monday Night Soccer on ESPN where they're promoting and building stars that American sports fans like myself can become familiar with. Now, again, this is my own shortcoming, that I am not familiar with soccer. I recognize that it's the world's game, right? I recognize that I'm in the minority here, but maybe that's why someone like me doesn't I couldn't name you one guy on Team America. Like, can you name me name me three really good guys on Team America that I should be watching?
Weston McKinney, who grew up in Little Elm.
Really?
Like minutes from your old house.
Really?
Yes.
All right. He's my guy. He's my guy now.
He plays for Juventus, so we never see him in the U.S. during, the regular time.
I don't know what Juventus is. That sounds Mexican. Is that a Mexican team?
No, sir. That's in Europe.
Well, why does it sound Mexican?
They speak Spanish in Mexico, sir, and they speak Spanish in Spain.
There you go. That would work. Okay.
Where do you think Mexico got Spanish?
I don't know. The Walmart.
It's not called Mexico-ish. It's called Spain-ish.
That's true. All right. So he's good. He's Little Elm Bob. What's his name again?
Weston McKinney.
Weston McKinney from Little Elm, Texas. We're rooting for him. What number does he wear? You're not a fan.
Oh, I don't remember.
You're not as big a fan. No, I'm kidding. I know you know all this stuff. Okay, so who else? Who else should we be looking at?
Well, Captain America is Christian Pulisic.
Okay, so I've heard that name. I have heard of Christian Pulisic. Now, where does he play professionally?
He plays at AC Milan, I think.
Oh, so that's a big one. I've heard of that team. I know that's like
he is a legitimate superstar in Europe.
Really? So, and isn't that rare for an American-born product, right? Is he like the first American to go over there and become a star? Because typically...
No, we had a huge run after 2004 of gigantic American goalkeepers playing in Europe.
Okay.
So...
All right, but as a sort of ignorant, trying to be fan of this situation, there have never been, like, when I think of football on the world stage, like, I know certain names. Like, I know that there's a bunch of guys that have a name that sound like Ronaldinho, right? There's like 5 of them, right?
Yeah. You got original Ronaldo, current Ronaldo, Ronaldinho.
Yeah. Okay, so there's all them. I know Messi. I know this
Beckham. Everybody knows Beckham.
Beckham, right? Yeah, because he sort of transcended popular culture in other ways by marrying a Spice Girl. But yes, and I drank with him. I know him personally. Anyway,
best friends.
I've told him the story many times. I wasn't mentioned in his book, though. I read his biography, just looking for any tale of maybe his honeymoon in Ireland, and there was nothing. There was nothing there. We know Messi. I know this other dude named Wayne Rooney because I saw him in an interview and thought he was funny.
Manchester United great, who also came over here and played at DC and then coached here.
But I cannot name an American who is as high profile as those guys in the overseas world of professional football.
I would say Pulisic is as close as we've got. Weston is also close because he plays in a big league. I mean, Juventus is a huge club.
Okay.
But you're right. I mean, that's we haven't had since the goalkeeper craze. with Tim Howard, who you see on the coverage if you ever watch a game. He's in the studio.
Right.
Alexi Lawless was back in 94 team, the original team, and he just basically stayed around because people either love him or hate him.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say the best example is the Christian Pulisic, because I've heard his name and I know that he plays soccer on a high stage. But honestly, until just now, I assumed he was like German or something. I didn't think he was American. So that's good. That's one for us. All right.
Yeah, I think he lives in Jupiter, Florida, and then travels over there for the season, then comes back.
All right. So we've got the Little Elm guy. What's his name again?
Weston McKinney.
We've got Christian Pulisic, and so give me one more. Give me one more guy from this team that we can all.
One of my favorites is Tim Ream. He's our center back, and he's 37 or 38 during this tournament, and still super solid. But once again, you won't know him. He plays overseas. I don't even know what club he plays for, but I mean, he's at the end of career.
He's a favorite. He's a favorite of yours. Okay, so good. We've established that there is a reason for me to now be interested in watching this team. There's a couple of high-level names there that could probably thrill me, even if I am completely ignorant to the sport.
I'm also shocked because you are a great bandwagon jumper.
Oh, one of the best. Yeah,
I know. And the bandwagon fandom has been amazing. I mean, obviously I live in Frisco, Texas, where they have so many outdoor bars and restaurants, and it's all flags and all countries and people. I just saw Norway, the big Viking, Erling Haaland. They were training at FC Dallas's fields with my kid yesterday. I mean, it's crazy. You've been to, obviously, Jerry World, Dallas Stadium in Arlington. And they have the live venue that's next door. That place is packed.
Yeah, like Texas Live. That place is like something on the Vegas Strip, boy.
Yeah, it's packed for every single game, even if there's not a game going on at the stadium.
Okay, so this is a reason for us all now to suddenly start paying attention, but you need to explain to me what happened last night. So what triggered this for me? Why am I hearing all of this stuff? Red card, no red card, don't know what it means. Break down the game last night. What happened first, I don't even know they played. What happened?
They played Bosnia.
Okay.
They played Bosnia. Okay. We expected to beat them. I mean, some pundits were saying it would be 4-0, and it probably would have been without the red card. But yeah, so our coming out star forward, who's made himself a bunch of money by playing great in the World Cup, got a red card for an accidental foul. I mean, it was certainly a foul, but the level of which he got this guy was an accident, but it was tough. And the reason people are going bananas, they won with 10 men, which is difficult to do even if you're playing a team that's not so great. I mean, you're in the World Cup, you're not that bad. Is that Messi had a similar foul in his first game and did not get a red.
So just again, and you have to baby step here, and I apologize, but a red card is like what? Throwing a penalty flag?
Yeah, so, bigger than a penalty flag. You're ejected from the game.
Oh, okay.
Your team plays with 10 men.
So this is like a spearing charge in football.
Yeah.
Or leading with your head. You're ejected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So whatever that the new foul is, if you come across and blitz a guy when he's not looking, you're ejected from the game, targeting whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So red card, but also you can't play the next game. And that's the biggest factor for us. And
so an American should have been given a red card, but wasn't.
He was given a red card, and in my opinion, he should have. Not even really a homer thing, because it was an incidental contact.
Right.
It just, when you slow it down and watch a guy get, the full weight of the bottom of a set of cleats in the ankle calf area, essentially almost snapping his leg, which he didn't. The player did continue on. It looks like a really egregious foul, like you were attempting to hurt somebody. In full speed, you can tell the guy was just going for the ball. It was an accidental thing. Like I said, it happened to the biggest player in the world, Lionel Messi, in the first stage. And of course, it's Messi. They're not throwing him out. And money would be falling.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the reality of the world.
Yeah, so they
Jordan
won
rules
against
apply.
the team. They won against the team they should have beat, and they played a majority of the second half with only 10 men. And I don't care if you're, the most amazing team playing 10 versus 11, or it's just like if LeBron goes out in an NBA final and you're playing 5 versus 4, you can't cover the whole court.
So they're talking about this as being a great achievement for Team USA, as it's the first time that they have survived what's called the knockout round in like 20 years. Is this true?
Yes. So we've been to the round of 16, which is where they're at now.
Right.
A couple of times, but I mean, keep in mind the World Cup's every 4 years, so 20 years is 4 World Cups.
Right.
To here, and in those, we've missed the round of 16 in the last 2, which is why everybody's throwing their hands up.
Have we graduated to the round of 16, or did we just win in the round of 16?
We won in the round of 32. We're now in the round of 16. If they win the next game, it will put them further than they've ever been in the tournament.
Okay, so now, good. I'm glad you said that, because that is something to be excited about. However, isn't there a caveat applied to this because there are more teams in this tournament than ever before? So the round of 16 doesn't mean what it did do you know anything about that?
Well, I mean, I would almost say it's a little more difficult to get to the round of 16 because you're competing against more teams. I mean, there is larger brackets.
Right, but isn't the argument that there are lesser teams in the World Cup this year because of the expansion, so that maybe these are...
Yeah, but I mean, so what do we see we saw this week in the round of 32, the Netherlands, who was a dark horse to win the whole thing, got knocked out by Morocco. So are you saying that is it easy? I mean, they lost. They didn't get to the round of 16. You saw, your normal teams, France, they made it through. Everybody expected France
Argentina, Germany, right? These are the ones I expect.
Haven't played yet, so we've got a whopper starting at 2. So today we have both the third Ronaldo. So CR7 plays for Portugal. They play Croatia, and then Spain plays Austria. Those are 2 huge teams. If one of those loses, then I mean the world will implode in their countries.
All right, so let me ask you this, because this is important context for us in this conversation. Who are the 3 best teams? Like, give me the 3. Give me the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the whatever.
So you have Brazil.
Okay.
You have Germany, who was also knocked out in the round of 13. So that's like your Dodgers getting knocked out.
So Germany's gone?
Gone.
Oh, okay.
Gone. Holland's up there. Spain is up there. Mexico, no. I mean, I would say like second tier is US, Mexico, teams like that. England is through, which you would expect to be, but they haven't won in a bazillion years.
So is England, because you just classified England in the same tier group as America.
The US.
Are we as good as England at soccer now? Is that what you're saying?
This tournament, I would say yes. Certainly competitive.
Well, yeah, no, this tournament, you don't even have to qualify. This is the tournament that determines such things. So, yeah, okay, very good. Hey, William Falk, Billy Boy there, fan of the KC Royals, he says that Packers wide receiver Antonio Freeman has a son who plays for Team USA. True?
That is true.
That is true. What is he? Is this why? Has the Black American athlete discovered soccer? Because let's be honest, this is really going to supercharge Team USA.
Well, that is the argument for years, was our best athletes don't play soccer. The problem is that this is not, and if you have to say this, it's probably bad, but this isn't racist.
I'll be the judge of that. Go.
Okay. There are many teams from Africa who have some of the fastest human beings you've ever seen.
On a soccer pitch.
Okay. And they're not good at soccer. So if you can combine athleticism with the skill level and training that's required to be proficient, then yes, the U.S. totally has a chance. But then again, like you said, I mean, Christian Pulisic is blazing fast.
Is he a white guy or a black guy?
White.
Oh, I would have bet white guy, but because we were talking about, I didn't know. Maybe he was a black guy.
Yeah, Weston McKennie is half and half. He's blazing fast. I mean, it's not that we lack athletes, but yes, it's the pool, right? you're increasing the pool of athletes that learn the skills necessary to play the sport.
So in your expert judgment, and I've been hearing you prattle on about soccer for over 20 years now, would you say American soccer is, legitimate, not threat, but a legitimate pick to potentially contend for the whole thing? Or is that just
If it falls right, yes.
if it falls right? And that's how it is with a lot of tournament brackets. Yeah, it really all depends on how it falls. All right, what do we have up next? You mentioned a game today at 2:00, but I'm probably only going to watch Team USA, at least here in the opening stages. When is
you have till July 6th to prepare for Belgium.
So they're off. That's the other question I guess I have for you, because I'm used to baseball. We play every day. How football, you play once a week. How often in a week do these teams play?
It's generally a game a week or just under, but
Really?
it's sped up. It's sped up a little bit now that we're in, the knockouts. There's less games.
Okay.
So physically, because they started with so many teams, you have to let the groups play in a scheduled run so that you don't have a team playing on 2 days rest that just is playing a team that's on 7.
Okay, one last stupid question for you, because I'm trying to figure out the watching experience. So right now, currently, because we have so many teams playing, there are games being played on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays. As this pool of teams gets smaller, as we get past the round of 16, will these only be on weekends? Will they only play on Saturdays and Sundays, or will they continue to have weekday games?
Well, no,
Because the championship game is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be on Sunday afternoon, right? At like 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time, and it'll get the biggest audience possible.
It's July 19th at 2:00.
That's the championship game.
Yep.
All right. Any predictions right now as to who will play in that championship game?
I'm still feeling Spain to the final, and probably Brazil if you want to go chalk, but Norway's up against Brazil next.
How about those guys, the Vikings? Are they any good at soccer?
Their forward, Erling Haaland, is a goal scoring machine, and their captain plays for my team. I support Arsenal, and he is exceptional. So yeah, they'll be competitive.
All right. Aaron, I appreciate it. That has been a World Cup update, the first one that we've done during this World Cup. Can we come and talk to you again, maybe before the next Team USA game? When is that going to be? Monday?
Sure.
All right. Yeah, let's check in with you on Monday, and
Monday night we'll do it.
You'll be our World Cup expert, because
you got some catching up to do. I've been doing my share. I'm at 100% viewership.
Yeah, I haven't seen one. It's been on TVs that I've walked past.
That almost counts. I mean, I take my phone golfing and have the game playing while I'm golfing. You gotta commit.
I was at a bar last weekend with my mom and her husband and my son, and we were out having a nice little lunch. Aurelio's, and there was a game on TV, and I glanced at it. That's pretty much the extent of my viewing.
We'll give you partial credit for that one.
No, I don't want any credit, but I am going to jump in. Look, there's big headlines telling me that I need to be excited about Team USA. It's 4th of July weekend. Let's go. That's what I say.
Well, you've obviously talked to your people and said how big a worldwide event this is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you ever referenced this, and it was a huge story before the World Cup. So a regular season game of English Premier League, Manchester City versus Manchester United, had almost double the viewership of the Super Bowl.
On TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm hearing from these European fans is they come and watch these games in these stadiums. And I guess I didn't realize it, but you have been to an Arsenal game. You've been to a number of games in the Premier League. The stadiums are much smaller than our stadiums, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're taken aback by the multi-billion dollar stadiums that we have. I think it lends well for the USA to get one quickly because they can do it so cheap relative to other countries that have to build.
But then I watched a Man heard this. I watched a Man United Man City game. I don't know, a couple of years ago. It was on TV, and they seem to be playing in like a massive football stadium. So are some stadiums like 100,000 and
I would
others are
say-
20?
No, I mean they EPL stadiums, because they have the relegation, so sometimes there's small towns in there. So
That's
they can go from say 20,000, like our high school stadiums in Texas,
Mhm.
up to 60, 70,000, and then if they play at Wembley, obviously you can fit more people. But that's not a regular stadium for a team.
Oh, it's not.
But
So
yes.
I assume that Wembley was either the home stadium for either Man U or Man City.
Well, that's in the wrong city.
Okay.
First of all, Manchester is in Manchester.
It's all the same. Yeah, I guess you're right. That would make sense. So they probably just played this rivalry game in London for the big stadium, right?
Could be. Well, no, Manchester United and Manchester City both have gigantic stadiums in Manchester. When you're talking
'Cause they're
Arsenal, your Arsenal, Man U, Man City, Liverpool, all these teams you've probably heard of, even if you're not a fan, they have big ass stadiums. But when you're playing Bolton Wanderers in Bolton, they're in a little stadium.
It's crazy to me that I don't have more of an appreciation for soccer because I've watched every soccer reality series that Netflix has. Sunderland forever, right? I've seen all of these things.
Right.
I love Ted Lasso, but that wasn't really heavy on soccer strategy. That was more just,
Have you watched the Wrexham stuff?
I love the Wrexham show. Loves it. Yeah, it's great.
They imagine that stadium, but playing Man City if they made it to the Premier League.
All right. Hey, Aaron, we got to move
All right,
on,
folks.
but thank you
I'm
so
out.
much. Appreciate it. That's Aaron Soccerman. He is in charge of all soccer information here on the show, and we appreciate him joining us. We'll talk to him again as the Team USA progresses their way through a World Cup tournament. How very exciting for all of us. All right, let's see. What do we want to jump into now? Let's talk about the jobs report that came out. We had a jobs report released today on Thursday. Typically, it's released on the first Friday of the month, but I guess tomorrow. This is so American. 4th of July is Saturday, okay? We should all work on Friday. Friday shouldn't be all the things that we would normally do on a Friday. We're going to take it off because lazy ass Americans. So anyway, the jobs report wasn't going to be released tomorrow when it should be. It came out today, and it's actually not the jobs report. It is here. Let me tell you what it is. The weird little naming thing. It is the 2026, the June 2026 employment situation report. That's right. I think Mike, the situation, is now working for the Trump administration. I say that as a joke, but you know that that's possible. That's totally possible. He is completely one of these dudes that they would put a suit on and suddenly present him like he's normal. All right, so Mike, the situation is putting out the job report that was supposed to be reported tomorrow, but it's today because nobody wants to work a full week anymore. And here's what it said. It was troubling because it had been predicted. All right, here, I'll read it to you. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released their June 2026 employment situation report today, which revealed that the United States economy added much lower than expected jobs. It says here the prior month's report covering May was released back in June of 26. Okay. 57,000 non-farm payroll jobs were added in June. Nationwide, 57,000. I wasn't one of them because apparently I'm not good enough to stack boxes in an Amazon warehouse, but 57 other of my citizen friends, they got jobs. Now, that sounds okay, right? That's good. That sounds up is better than down. Well, the projection was 115,000. The projection that Wall Street had come to, the Meridian line, I guess, or the Mendoza line. It's a baseball term. The Mendoza line was 115,000, and we came in at 57,000. So it's a lot worse. Now, why? Let me read it to you before I start giving you my little opinions here, okay? Non-farm payroll jobs. That means non-agriculture jobs, right? Is that what non-farm is, or is it non-pharmacy? It's an F. It's not a PH. Non-farm payrolls added 57,000 jobs. As I said, this missed the Dow Jones and Wall Street Journal expectations of 115. The unemployment rate, however, ticked down a little, which is good. Unemployment reporting for June is only 4.2%. That is down from May when it was 4.3%. Now, that looks like a good thing, but it's not. It's a bad thing because that is due to the fact that people are done working for jobs. People are no longer looking for jobs. So that's why, and their unemployment is running. Actually, I can tell you exactly why that is. It says, I just sound like a stupid guy trying to remember shit I read earlier today. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. It says wage growth, average hourly earnings in the United States rose by 0.3% for the month and 3.5% year over year. This failed to keep pace with inflation. And then there's a mention about how much better Biden's thing was, but I won't read that to you because we don't need to. They're making sure that we understand that this is due to that guy. He's doing this. Professional and business services led the job growth. They added 36,000 positions. Social assistance, what is that? What is that, like government jobs? 25,000. Healthcare added 22,000 jobs. This is a notable deceleration from its 12-month average of 38,000 jobs. So the healthcare sector for the last 12 months has added at least 38,000 jobs. This month, just 22. All right, so there's no workforce. The robots are doing everything. Drones are delivering everything. And I can't get a job. I've got a nice resume. I've got an impressive resume. And I can't get a job stacking boxes in an Amazon warehouse. All right, let's move on. Let me bring you up to speed on the Empire State hotties. Remember these two? Actually, I don't know if they're hotties. One hot. There's one hot. Guys, I don't understand why I am so infatuated with the Empire State Building climbing girl. Probably because I know I can't have her. Because minutes after she climbed, she got proposed to. Off the market. Off the market. Here, I'll show you this. This was what they did yesterday. Just at the start of the show, we covered this. This was happening live yesterday in the noon hour, New York City. Couple of fairly well-known, although not at the time, fairly well-known Russian building climbers, if there's such a thing as famous building climbers. They're well-known in the world of building climbers, and there was even a Netflix special. I haven't watched it. I almost intended to watch that yesterday. I was like, oh, tonight I should watch the movie about the climbers. And then you know what happened? Like, because this was a news, look at her. I don't know why she's got sexy shoulders. Just from the minute I saw her shoulders and her neck, I went, yes, I like her. What was I saying? Something about, doesn't matter. I was distracted by her beauty. Do you see? This is how it happens. All right. So this is the video. This is them on top of the Empire State Building. A couple of Russian people. They were featured in a Netflix documentary. Oh yeah. Why I didn't watch the documentary? Because I started to think I might watch it. And then I went, it's probably a dumb love story. I'll wait for the documentary about this specific event. Then I'll get to know these two. Anyway, here they are up on top of the Empire State Building. They climbed. We now know that they went through a hatch in the observation deck. There's apparently a heating and air conditioning vent that leads right to a scaffolding that can get you up to where we're looking at them now, where they got. I was wondering, because remember I said, what, did they climb from the outside all the way up? No, they took the elevator the first 100 and something floors and then just went through a little heating and air conditioning duct to climb up on top of the antenna. When they climbed up on top of the antenna, what did they do? Did they put up a Green Bay Sucks flag? No, they didn't do that. Did they put up a put Trump in prison flag? No, they didn't do that either. They didn't do that. Did they get up there and did they put a MAGA flag? No, they didn't do anything. Nothing really. They put up a really nice flag. They put up a flag with a really nice sentiment about how, we should all be better to each other, and we should stop chasing power and all. It was a world peace message. It was just a message about being peaceful. Nobody should be triggered by the message that these two yahoos put up there. All right, let's watch. Here they are. Let's see if I can read it. When the power of love defeats the love of power, the world knows peace. I'm gonna get that tattooed on my forehead. That's a very nice sentiment. That is not a political sentiment. That is not right or left. Honestly, that's something we should all feel. When the power of love defeats the love of power, the world knows peace. I like it. But I like her too. I like her build. Very sexy build. I don't know if it's the danger aspect of it. My God. Like I got a chance with her. Like there would ever be a situation where I'm out with my friends and I go, hey guys, I'd like to introduce you to my girlfriend. She climbs buildings. Maybe you've seen her. That's so cool. That's so cool. I want a rom-com, not with her and him. That's not a rom-com because they like the same things. I want a rom-com where she falls in love with the prosecutor, the New York prosecutor. And he's like real uptight and she's like crazy building climber girl with Russian accent who's hot. Anyway, here they are. Seem nice. All right. And I don't know. I'm not gay. Is he hot? He's probably hot. I'm just saying. I'm not gay, but I'm looking at him. He seems to be like yoked. And he seems, he seems, these are hot people. Hot people doing crazy stuff. Man, no way. Like that thing is swaying. It's built to sway. There is give in these things because you don't want it to snap off in wind. So there is give on these. This is nuts, man. This is nuts. They have the best sex life of anybody you know. Their sex life is great. They do this stuff. So I was very intrigued, right? I was like, what's going on with her? I fell in love with the nape of her neck and the exposed shoulders. That was a thing. Here, wait, what is this on our video? Oh yeah, here's the proposal. See, I fell in love with her and then instantly she's off the market. Here's the proposal. We watched this live. They climbed up on the spire that we just saw, and then they both climbed down, and the dude set up what we now know was a live streaming camera, and he proposed to her. They made a moment of it.
It appears now that one of these protesters has paused at the platform there beneath the full height of the spire, either to position something or to move something, whether there's going to be an additional unfurling or not. We don't know the intention of these people. But if these people can get up to where they are, that raises a host of security questions. And they've seemingly done it, Kira, without...
Man, it's the whole cosplay fetish thing where she looks like Batgirl. That's what it is.
Kira,
I think that's what it is for me.
Getting down on a knee, perhaps proposing to this individual.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Aaron, I think that's exactly what could be happening. I wish WABC would just move a little bit more around so we could see what he's doing down on his knee. This is crazy.
I would imagine, if it's a proposal, it's an elaborate one, and I hope she said yes. But it is undoubtedly going to end in their arrest.
Aaron, I hope this is not Taylor. I hope this is not Taylor and all
right, she's not a funny woman. She had a funny thought. She's not quick. She couldn't form it into a one-liner, and that's what happened. Yeah, this is like cause Taylor and Travis. It's like, okay, all right, shut up, stupid. That was awesome. Everything about that was awesome. We're programmed. We are programmed to see that and go, fuck those people. What do they think they're doing? I want to climb a building, but I can't climb a building. We should put them in jail forever. Right? That's like this visceral reaction that we have. We're programmed to have this reaction. I watched that, and at first, that was my reaction. I'm like, look at these fucking idiots, right? That's kind of your first reaction. That's programming. But then I start watching it. I see the flag. I'm like, oh, that's a nice message. That's not. I don't think that's gonna. And then he proposed, and before that, I realized she was hot, and I'm like, oh. All right, so don't be mad at these people. These people are fine. And I'm going to tell you everything about what happened to them. They were charged with a whole bunch of stuff, and then they were released immediately. No bail. There's no bail for what they did. They don't offer bail in New York for this kind of nonviolent crime. You're just released on your own recognizance. You're charged with a whole bunch of like mayhem and nuisance-based charges, and then they just let you go. And here we go. This is them? Yeah. All right, they got let out of jail early this morning. After meeting a judge. There were reports that the judge was snickering. Like the judge was not looking to, drop the hammer on these two. Apparently the judge was like, hey, oh, and the judge also said, congratulations on your nuptials, which is fun. All right, here they are. This is them as they got out of, I was going to say prison, but it was actually jail. Here they are this morning in New York. I'll run through the list of charges here, but first, let's watch these two folks, two Russian-born building climbers who were arrested yesterday after they climbed the Empire State Building and then got married, got proposed to, got engaged. Engaged is the word I was looking for. Kiss! When they're making them kiss, the reporter's like, kiss! All right. This chick has been in a county lockup for like the last 24 hours, and I'm still like, she's gorgeous. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're going for it. Congratulations. She's still wearing like the sexy climber bodysuit. All right, here they are. Yeah, I guess he's hot. Like if I was a gay guy, I'd be like, yeah, he's hot too. Or hot people. Hot people can do shit. If they were ugly, we'd be like, oh, screw them. They have no regrets. They're loving this. What would you say to New Yorkers who might try to do this? Well, here's what I would say. I have like 20 years of expert climbing, and she's a circus freak. She was raised in a circus. So if you're a typical New Yorker and you want to try this, don't. That's the answer. Was it hot up there? Was it hot up there? Bitch, it's 105 degrees at street level. How hot do you think it is up in the clouds? Hotter. Heat rises, dummy. He's like, yeah, he's a charming guy. He's got a smile. He's being nice. Yeah, he's hot. He's hot. OnlyFans ought to reach out to these two, right? Can we film the wedding night? I think people would tune in for that. Okay. I want to get a good look at her. She's really cute. Again, she's this attractive after spending 24 hours in jail, after climbing a building, like 110 degree temperatures. I'm trying to get a good look at her. She's so cute. All right, there we go. That's the lovely couple. If you like hate them for what they did, you're just stupid. Who cares what they did? Why do you care? It's cool. It was a cool little thing they did in the afternoon. Well, we can't have that become a thing. Trust me, it's not going to become a thing. The average person isn't going to go, I'm going to climb the Empire State Building. These are specific people who we have to look out for because they do these kinds of things. Let's all move on. All right, here's what they were charged with, though. Let me see. Let's go through this whole thing. The charges against the couple are not bail eligible, first of all. It's because of New York's nonviolent crime. New York has if you get arrested in New York for something that's not violent, they don't make you come up with bail. They just release you on your own recognizance, which I think is pretty smart because these people, this is dumb. They don't need to be in prison for what they did. They violated local ordinances. That's pretty much the extent, when push comes to shove, of what they did. Oh, no, they didn't. They endangered the entire state. You pearl clutching little ninny. Shut up. Let's see. These are nonviolent offenses. New York's bail framework divides crimes into qualifying, bail eligible, and non-qualifying, non-bail eligible. While the couple faces several charges, the core felony that they face is third-degree burglary. Commercial burglary is what third-degree burglary is, which is legally classified as nonviolent. Now, why is third-degree commercial burglary nonviolent? Because they make a distinction between burglary that occurs in your home, somebody coming into your home and standing in your home unwanted, that's considered violent, but commercial, climbing the outside of a building, yeah, they don't consider that violent, and rightfully so. Let's see, what were they actually charged with? So now we know why they walked. They walked because there was no way to hold them. They've been released from jail. They spent the night in separate holding cells. They appeared this morning in the exact same black outfits that they wore to climb the building. We saw that. They'll be in court again on August 24th, 2026. That's the first time they're going to face these charges. But here's what they've been charged with. Felony burglar. Are we learning right now that I can't pronounce burglary? It's an L. I've always had problems with L's. I say milk wrong. Like I call it milk, and people are like, "That's not milk. It's milk. Milk. Pronounce the L." Felony burglary, reckless endangerment, criminal trespass, criminal tampering, possession of burglar's tools, and disorderly conduct. There you go. That's it. I mean, you can stack them and make it look like a big, a big rap, if you will. But nah, those are all, let's see. The Russian roof-topping couple who were featured in a 2024 Netflix documentary entitled Skywalkers, A Love Story. That's why I didn't watch it. I don't care about the love story, man. I don't give a shit. I want to learn about these two crazy cuckoos from Russia who just climb buildings. I don't care about a love story. They were arrested, of course, by emergency service unit officers of the New York City Police Department after these officers took them into custody without resistance. Security, the building management and detectives are actively reviewing security film to figure out exactly how they accessed their position. And there you go. These are nonviolent offenses. There was no residential incursion. Public safety was excluded from any harm, and least restrictive means is another reason for none of these charges being all that serious. But there you have it. So they'll be back in court in August. Maybe she'll be pregnant. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be a great little extension of the story? Oh, she's pregnant now. All right, there's our little friends. All right, so here we're going to talk to Maddie here in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to talk about this before we got into Maddie because this is really bothering me. All right, we discussed the heat situation. We've got a heat wave that is rolling right across the central United States, all the way up into the Atlantic Northeast. It's 100 plus all over that area. New York, we looked at the thing. It was like New York's 108 degrees today. Wasn't somewhere 110. Actually, I don't know. I might be making it bigger, but it's very hot. It's very hot throughout this whole swath of America. And because of this, let me show you some things. All right. Hold on. Just give me a second here. I got to pull this stuff up. I don't have. All right, we'll start out with this one. All right, so this was posted. This was posted today by the evil communist mayor of New York City, Zoran Hussein Mandami. That's who this guy is. He posted this today as mayor of New York City on a day when New York is possibly going to shatter heat records. The mayor of New York City says this: New York, It's hot out there, and the power grid is working overtime to keep us cool. Set your air conditioning to 78 degrees, turn off lights, electronics that you're not using, and unplug what you can. Our city is doing its part too, maintaining the 78-degree rule in our buildings, dimming, turning off our lights during peak electricity demand times, asking private partners to do the same, and powering down non-essential equipment. A stable grid means the AC stays on and lives are saved. Let's ease demand and get through the heat together, says Mayor Zorhan Hussein Mamdani. All right. So that's what he said. That's what he said. Well, guess what? Ted Cruz Ted Cruz has an answer for him. Ted Cruz, here's what Ted Cruz says, which is absolutely wild. Because remember, the mayor of New York has asked you to turn your thermostats to 78 in order to conserve the power grid. Ted Cruz sees an opportunity to say, in a first world country, you could turn the AC on. Look at the banana republic that Mamdani Hussein Obama has created in New York. Ted Cruz. I wanted to start with Ted Cruz. Oh, there's a couple other that we're going to talk about too, but I wanted to mention Ted Cruz here. Ted Cruz represents Texas. It has been standard operating procedure. ERCOT has been recommending for years that people in Texas set their thermostats to 78 degrees. It is not, unless you think Texas is not a first world country. If you think Texas is as bad as whatever, New York is going through right now, well, then I guess you're right. But I don't think Ted Cruz is making that correlation. I think Ted Cruz thinks that the people reading this tweet are too stupid to know that Texas has their own supreme power grid problems and that the 78-degree suggestion is neither communist or something that only occurs in banana republics. It is smart. And it has been the suggestion, again, not a law, not a rule, the suggestion of the land since Richard Nixon in 1972 first started this. The idea that 78 degrees is perfect and it helps everybody have the air conditioning that they need. But not Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is going to pretend like he's not a senator from Texas who fully aware that 78 is the standard suggestion for what you should set your thermostat at. This is also rich, coming from the guy who during snowpocalypse got on a plane to Cancun. That's my problem with these people. That's not my problem with necessarily Ted Cruz. My problem with him is that he's a lying con man manipulator. My problem is with you people who vote for this guy because he has so little respect for you. He doesn't think that you're going to make the connections that I just gave to you. He's going to think that they're going to go, yeah, New York, 78 degrees. That's communism. That's what we're going to get. That's what you have, bitch. You already have that in Texas. 78 degrees has been the stated number that ERCOT wants everybody to keep their thermostats at. ERCOT is apparently a communist business. So piss off, Ted Cruz, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the F word anymore the way I used to. I don't think I need to. Ted Cruz can go kick rocks. How about Dave Portnoy, this clown show? Dave Portnoy, who started Barstool or whatever, and now he's like a billionaire because of the gambling boon. He says that he wants to be mayor of New York City. He'll get his ass handed to him, and I hope that he spends millions and millions of dollars getting his ass handed to him. But let's go, Dave. If you want to get involved in politics, because I guess that's what billionaires do now, billionaires who are insufferable narcissists have to now stop being, boss of their own personal universe and go into politics and try and become boss of the actual universe. That's what Dave Portnoy is into, so he set his sights on Mamdani. Here again is the tweet that Mamdani put out suggesting to all New Yorkers, we're trying to conserve the power grid here in these incredibly hot days. Please set your thermostats to 78. Dave Portnoy, he says, 78 degrees. Welcome to communism, people. Hope you enjoy. Again, It was Richard Nixon in 1972 who first put this policy in action. This is neither communist nor an indication that we have an insufficient electricity grid. It is just best practices. That's what it is. But we got to make it communist, right? Oh, you're a communist. This is, first of all, Mandami's not a communist. You're stupid and don't know what communism is if you think he is. If you think socialism and communism are the same thing, you're stupid. Move along. We might find both of them distasteful to our American way of life, but they are not the same thing. You stupid, stupid people. Okay. That's Dave Portnoy. And again, Dave Portnoy ain't stupid. Dave Portnoy knows it's not communism, but what is he doing? He's banking on the fact that the people that support his stupid shit don't know that it's not communism. Ginning up the stupids. I'm pointing it out to you. Ginning up the stupids. All right, so there's another one here too. So we got Ted Cruz. We've got we've got Dave Portnoy, and now how about this guy? This guy, you remember he ran for mayor and got his ass handed to him by a I don't know who he lost to. I don't care. I don't pay attention to Los Angeles politics. But how about former Hills star Spencer Pratt? Yeah, that's right. He's going the communist thing too. Do you think it's a coincidence that Dave Portnoy and Spencer Pratt are both using communist in response to Zoran Mandami's tweet from 24 hours ago? And isn't it odd that it was after like 18, 20 hours that both Dave Portnoy and Spencer Pratt are taking this Zoran Mandami tweet and using the word communism? Those are the talking points, folks. I tell you about these talking points all the time. Spencer Pratt and Dave Portnoy woke up this morning to emails that said, hey, did you see this Mandami tweet? You guys need to start tweeting that it's communism. And when I say you guys, I don't just mean Spencer Pratt and Dave Portnoy. I mean thousands of people who receive these talking points. You may even hear James Parker on WBAP today at 2 o'clock talking about how this is communism. Bought and motherfucking paid for. James, I understand. James has like 15 kids, and I begrudge him nothing because I know James's heart. But man, oh man, this is a script. Communism. They have established that the baseline for understanding of who this guy is in New York, 2 people in Ohio or Nebraska, the baseline is he's a communist. They've established that. I talk about branding all the time. The branding among center right and right America of Mandami is he's a communist. He's not. But, you know, if you say it enough, people just go, well, I guess it's true because I heard 15 people say it today. And that's what's happening when Spencer Pratt, Ted Cruz, Dave Portnoy, and about 50 others that I've seen today. They all read the talking points this morning and all had non-original thoughts. Why? Because they're trying to manipulate you. It's about you, the dirty peasants who are too stupid to think for yourself. So you need the guy that used to be on the hills to tell you how to think. And the guy that used to be on the hills has like Stephen Miller firing out a massive email to 10,000 recipients every morning. And that's why you go to Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever it is. And you will find endless amounts of people who have a lot of followers because they're influencers, all saying the same thing, that this idea that 78 degrees is communist in nature when it's not. It's Nixon in nature. God, that makes me so mad. All right, let's figure this out because let's see if suggesting to people while a power grid is being stressed that they keep their thermostats to 78. Let's see if that is communism, okay? The suggestion to keep the thermostat at 78 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer has been a core piece of American energy conservation policy for over 50 years. You know, back during the heart of the Cold War when we were all very communist adjacent. When Nixon did this in 72, when he set the baseline at 78 degrees, did people go, that's communism? That's communism. No, They only did it now because Stephen Miller sent out an email that thousands of right-wing influencers read this morning, and now they're all tweeting about communism and 78 degrees. The specific recommendation of 78 degrees dates back to the 1970s energy crisis. I've been saying 1972. It's 1973 when President Richard Nixon, that great communist Nixon, President Richard Nixon, following the OPEC oil embargo, Nixon made the first major federal push for thermostat conservation. Communist! He asked Americans to lower their winter thermostats to 68 and 78 in the summer. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so it's been basically policy here in communist America since 1973. So just stop with your bullshit. All right. My thermostat is currently set at 78. That's the default setting when I put the air conditioning on. Now, maybe this is because I was raised by a single mother and we were always very conscious of the electricity bills. But my entire life, that's what you set the air conditioning to, 78. And I've never thought of myself as a communist. I've just always thought of myself as, this is the temperature that works. This is good. This is good. By the way, 78 degrees is the temperature in heaven. I don't know if you know that. It's in the Bible. 78 degrees and partly sunny. That is the temperature every day. Every day. All right. So that is some weirdness. That is some weirdness coming from the right. Can we now do some weirdness coming from the left? Because I like to be an equal opportunity. It's not like one side is better than the other. I have been just going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and on about the pettiness of the left when it concerns Donald Trump. The man is doing so many serious things that we really need to talk about. Nobody is talking about how much money he is making. But we're talking about the reflecting pool. We're talking about how fat his butt looks. We're talking about how the dude is allowing you to be petty and make fun of all of these things while he is robbing the hen house of all the eggs. And nobody's paying attention to that because that's complicated. And I get tired head thinking about how he's hiding money. But the reflecting pool, he thought he could clean the pool. Stop it. The pettiness is disgusting. Although on some level, I do kind of understand an accumulation of endless pettiness may sort of establish a new brand for him, but it ain't happening. People still love this guy. Whatever it is you're trying to do with this endless war of pettiness about this guy, it's not affecting his base. And it's now having like the opposite effect where people are like, oh, you're just so petty. So here's an example of some petty weirdness. Trump, I guess, went to one of the Dakotas. Truthfully, I make no distinction. He went to one of the Dakotas and he made a speech. And oh my God, I didn't watch the speech because I am long past being entertained by his speeches. I'll admit, there was a time when I'm like, oh, Trump's going to talk. It's going to be wild. Who's he going to offend now? Like, that was fun. That's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore because this guy has gone from not being a billionaire to having almost $10 billion. How did that happen? All the while screaming about Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio. It's like, what? All right, so he went to one of the Dakotas and he started talking about shit. Here's an example of the pettiness. And this isn't just petty. It would be petty if it was real, but it's not real. So it's not even petty. What this is taken out of context and presented as something that it's not. So here, let me show you this. This comes from the left. Okay. The left call to activism is this site. They are very left, and they are no more admirable than the worst of the far-right MAGA sites. They do not care about truth here at this site. All they care with this handle, I guess. What is it? Account. It would be an account. At this account, all they care about is keeping the pettiness up. Every little thing. So let's look at how this is. Here's how this is. Oh, there's a red alert thing. See this? The red alert. And then, what the fuck? I'm so confused. What the fuck? Trump hallucinates on live television. All caps. Says Donald Trump says that he had a conversation with former President Teddy Roosevelt about the Panama Canal. Teddy Roosevelt has been dead since 1919. But he's saying, all right, let's watch what he said. Let's watch what he said. Because remember, the account here, the petty bitch ass left-wing account that does their side no fucking favors, the petty bullshit is that Donald Trump is hallucinating on stage pretending that he had a conversation with Teddy Roosevelt, who died in 1919. Let's watch.
I even had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt. I said, what did you think about the Panama Canal? Do you consider that your greatest achievement? How do you feel about the fact that the Democrats gave the Panama Canal away to Panama for $1? You know, he built the Panama Canal, preceded really by a man who was he was the tariff king.
All right, so there you have it. One more time, let's listen to the very beginning, because this is the most important part.
I even had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt.
Crazy how they clipped it so tight, right? Like that's a really tight clip where it starts with, I even had a conversation. There's like no breath before that. Very deliberately edited to pick up the, I even had a conversation with Teddy Roosevelt, right? That's the line that leads to call to activism to go, like he's hallucinating. He doesn't even know that Teddy Roosevelt is dead. Here's the problem with this. The previous 10 seconds of this speech, Donald Trump says, yeah, it's pretty great. They've even got an AI Teddy Roosevelt exhibit that you can interact with, pick up with.
And I said, what did you think about the Panama Canal? I even had a conversation with.
That's what precedes this statement. Trump talking about an AI exhibit that he walked up to, an AI exhibit of Teddy Roosevelt, where you can ask him questions. That's what Trump is talking about.
I even had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt.
But that's not how it's framed. Because bad people, duplicitous bad actors exist on both sides. And I don't think it's admirable for the opposition to engage in the same kind of duplicitous bullshit that the right has been doing for 10 years now. He was talking about an AI experience, yet it was presented. And by the way, the only people who follow call to activism are crazy people on the left. And what did that do? Oh, that triggered their dopamine. Owie, thinks. Owie. That's all that was about. Petty bullshit. Here's another one. Here's another one from the same speech. This is headquarters. I don't know what this is. Headquarters now. The belief here on this is Trump says that people don't realize that Eisenhower was a general. Trump's giving a part of the speech. He starts talking about Eisenhower, who was, of course, a great general. He was Supreme Allied Commander in World War II. He would go on to be president. Pretty good president, too. So what we're being asked to believe here is that President Trump doesn't know that Eisenhower was a general, or at the very least, that President Trump believes that other people don't know that he was a general, right? Trump doesn't think people know that Eisenhower was a general. All right, let's listen to this. Let's see if that's actually accurate. Here we go.
That was such a famous train. The last one was President Dwight Eisenhower, and he was actually a very good president. People don't realize he was a general, good general, and he built the interstate highway system.
All right, so let's talk about, because that is the clip here that's being used to, I don't know, suggest that Trump doesn't know that people know Eisenhower was a general. That's not what he's saying here. Let's listen again. What he's doing is he has a non-scripted, free-form way of talking, okay? And let's listen again. Remember, ask yourself this. Is he saying that people don't realize that Eisenhower was a general? Or is he saying that Eisenhower was a pretty good president and people don't realize that? Because that's what he's saying. what he's saying is, Eisenhower was a pretty good president. People don't realize that he was a general. And then he just, without, poor speaking punctuation, he just went into another thought. They're not the same thought. He's not saying that people don't realize he was a general. He's saying people don't realize he was a good president. And then he starts listing things about him. Disingenuous bullshit designed to gin up the rubes. In this case, rubes on the left. We collectively need to be smarter, and we need to push this shit away because this does nothing to help the integrity of the opposition.
That was such a famous train. The last one was President Dwight Eisenhower, and he was actually a very good president.
This is what he's saying. And he was actually a pretty good president.
People
don't realize
he was a general.
He was a general. That's another thought. It is not that people don't realize he's a general. So just, everybody who engages in politics in 2026 is an absolute disingenuous dirtbag. That's my statement. That's how I feel about it. All right. What else do we have? Pugs is finding out that people on the left take things out of context. Frank, you've been here for 5 years. I've been pointing out how both sides are duplicitous. Although, let me tell you something, Frank. Your side is way worse. Your side invented this game and did it first. So I don't know what this is. Some kind of a victory lap you're trying to take? Yes. People... So sick of it. So sick of it. All right, let's see here. What else do we want to do? You know what I need to do here? Let's take a quick break. That's it. We're going to do one of these shows. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk to Maddie. Maddie wrote a really interesting article for a local newspaper where she talks about some big plans that Elon Musk has there for southern Louisiana. I want to get into it. I want to talk to her about it because I have very complicated feelings about Elon Musk. I do. I at once think that Elon Musk might be one of the most important human beings who has ever walked the earth and one of the worst. That's right. Important, different category, and just an asshole. Just one of the biggest assholes. Can be both. Very complicated for me, my thoughts on Elon Musk. I used to like him. Then I really didn't. Then I kind of liked him again. But now it's complicated. And we'll get into that and his big plans for Louisiana that Maddie has some very, very... The article she wrote was so good. We'll maybe post it or something. I don't know. We'll figure out a way for you guys to see it if you're so inclined. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about this weird new sex fetish that is based on racial humiliation. We got to get into... There's something wrong with us people. When, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about the Pornhub sexual fetish ranking. There is something wrong with us people, and we need to start calling it out. We've got a new hot fetish that is taking over, and it is really disturbing. It's disturbing. So we'll talk about that. What else are we going to get into? We're going to get into... I want to catch up on what I'm watching, but more particularly, I want to give you a review of a new documentary that I watched on HBO Max that was really good. It was really, really good. Really, he's going to talk about a documentary? It's a documentary about Robin Bird. You guys know who Robin Bird is? Unless you're really into media, unless you're really into, or you lived in New York City during the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, you would know who Robin Bird is. Or I guess if you listen to the Howard Stern show, because Howard was a big Robin Bird fan. Anyway, there's a documentary about Robin Bird on HBO, and I watched it, and it is really good. So I'll tell you all about it. Then we'll do 3 videos, and we'll do the baseball stuff, and there's a couple of other weird things here that I want to talk about today that we'll touch on before we let everybody go for what might be an extended weekend. I don't know. I think we're doing a show tomorrow, but maybe not. So we'll see. We'll figure all of that stuff out. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I'm going to get some coffee. I'm going to go to the restroom. I'm going to remind you one more time that we do have some heroes around here. This month, July, we're already creating our list. These are the people who support this show. Get your name on the list if you want to be in good standing. Thank you to Maddie. Thank you to Peter. Thank you to Barney. July heroes here on the second day of July. Three on the second day. That's good. That's one hero for each day. I appreciate that. Well, no, that's 1.333 heroes for each day. Thank you. If you want to join that crowd, get your name up there on the big wall of fame. All you got to do is drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Quick break. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll come back, and then we're going to do more show. Okay. There we go. All right, we're back. I got to apologize, man. Took a little bit longer than expected because ended up having a conversation with my son. Just typical father-son kind of stuff. It was here was how it went. Big game tonight. Yeah, 5:40. Davis Martin's on the bump. Yeah, he is. And then I said to my son, I'm a little bit concerned about Davis. Is he still one of the most dominant pitchers in the American League when he's playing on the road? Because the last time against the Yankees, he got shelled. His worst game was so our ace, Davis Martin, who's very good. Davis Martin has been a little shaky on the road the last couple of outings. So this is a big game for us. It's for first place. I mean, we're in first place, by the hat. When I wear the White Sox hat, that means we're alone in first place. I might not wear the hat tomorrow. If Cleveland wins, we're tied. And I do not wear the hat for ties. I do not. All right. So, sorry. Thank you. That's what I was doing. That's why that break took maybe a little bit longer than usual. All right. It's time to talk to Maddie. Maddie's got a whole bunch of interesting things going on in her life. We haven't spoken to her in a while. So let's check in with her now. Where is it? There she is. Okay, let's call her. Peter watched Becoming Led Zeppelin on Netflix.
Hello.
Hi, Maddie.
Hey, happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy birthday, America. Oh, Jesus.
Well, getting close. Not quite there yet, but almost.
Oh, God. So you've been having a problem with Frank, right? Because Frank is really twisting my nipples right now. I don't understand the random things that Frank they don't really seem to mesh with. Like Frank just said something about Trump winning a lawsuit. CBS lost a court case to Trump because they edited clips. I don't believe that's true, Maddie. I believe that that's what Frank believes, that CBS lost a court case. I believe CBS settled that court case. Isn't that true?
I can certainly.
Well, I mean, we can AI that right now, but isn't that part of the whole Paramount CBS thing, that they bowed down to this baseless suit that Trump had brought against them, whereas any other media company would have fought and won in court, but because there was this merger that they needed White House approval for, CBS somehow bowed down and settled this? Isn't that I thought that was the case. Hold on. CBS.
Yeah, I just AI'd it, and it says no, he didn't exactly win it. The lawsuit regarding CBS 60 Minutes editing of Kamala Harris's interview was officially resolved when CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, agreed to a $16 million settlement.
Sorry, Frank. That's not the same thing. So, okay. All right, Maddie. Now, I read you're a writer now for a local newspaper down there. You're putting out some articles, and I read one that I wanted to talk to you about. It concerns an Elon Musk SpaceX project being planned for your neck of the woods. Why don't you tell us about it? Tell us what's happening down there and what your issue is with this whole thing.
Yeah. So, this has been very quietly being shuffled around amongst more so the industry circles that I work in, because I am a real estate agent, right? So when a big project and there's a big land transaction that seems to be on the horizon, we kind of hear about it first. And this hit my purview, so to speak, a couple of months ago, but it was being speculated, just merely a speculation, that there was 136,000 acres of wetlands in Vermilion Parish that was owned currently by ExxonMobil, that there might be a new owner coming on deck. And all of us in the commercial and residential real estate spaces were kind of like, what could this be? Because ExxonMobil had owned this property, and their intended purposes of this was to build what is called a carbon capture plant. And we had also witnessed that, there had been a lot of pushback about this, that the state legislature and, the wealthy pockets, so to speak, were very pro it for obvious reasons, but that the court had gotten involved, and a lot of environmentalists and activists and residents and business owners had been pushing back against it for a mountain of reasons. And then we had seen this conversation kind of die off. Weren't sure where this was headed, but Exxon had been actively fighting this in court, trying to say that they were doing environmental impact studies and things like that, and it had kind of quieted down. Well, then all of a sudden, a couple of months ago, there was this rumor that was going around that there was a quote unquote space exploration company that had showed interest in this. And at the time, no one was certain if it was SpaceX or Blue Origin. And then in the last several weeks, it had gotten to be a very firm conversation where that it was definitely SpaceX. Now, the thing that annoys me about this is that over and above what I know that this has the potential to do to the ecology and also to the residents' peace of life, I dislike violently that these conversations are not public, that the residents of this state and specifically these communities are not being disclosed exactly what this project is, or that they have been given a voice to express any dissent or positivity regarding the project at all. So that is a huge thing for me. And then, of course, once we get into this conversation a little bit more, granularly, we can also discuss what the state legislature and our lovely governor has done to grease the wheels for this project, which are quite frankly shocking.
All right, so I have pulled up on a map the area here, Vermilion Parish. Correct? This is the area where this is all going on. So I have to play stupid with you. I did it with our first guest today when I didn't know anything about soccer. I don't know anything about really Louisiana other than not a big fan. Sorry. I've had some bad experiences in New Orleans, and
we all have, even the residents.
Yeah, and I've never been anywhere other than New Orleans. Well, I guess I've been to Bossier City, to the casino there. But so my question is this: like, I am looking at a map, and I don't know if you can see this map, but it is a map of Vermilion Parish, and I'm seeing like okay, so I-10, I guess here connects Baton Rouge to, I guess, Lafayette. We'll say, okay, so Lafayette to Baton Rouge. There is nothing in between here. Is that all unbuildable land? Like, is this all swamps? Is that what I'm looking at?
A lot, yes. A lot of this are marshy waterways. It connects back to the the Intracoastal Canal.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a lot of low-lying marshy wetland.
Okay,
Correct.
so good. So that's this area. So now we're back down here in Vermilion Bay here, Vermilion Parish. Is there much? Does anybody live there? Like, or is this all, again, swampy marshland like the Everglades, where it's just a big area of the state that is really not developable for, housing or anything?
So, and for good reason. Like, number one, the reason why this area is pretty much untouched is it's not exactly the best location for building houses for certain, but also it is a vital part of our protection and barrier system for hurricanes. These tributaries and barriers are a natural resource that provide protection for our coast. But also, if you look at this area, this 136,000 acres, it is sandwiched in between two preserves that have migratory birds and amphibians and all kinds of things that are on protected lists. These are sanctuaries for bird bird species, and a multitude of other things.
All right, so let me ask you, where in this area of Vermilion Parish are we looking for? Where is he looking
If
to?
you
Right on the
scroll back over
coastline?
to where you saw Pecan Island, it is there.
Okay,
so
there it
is
is.
right by Pecan Island and an area that is called Freshwater City.
All right, so I see something called White Lake, and then there is a road, and I have a marker here that says Pecan Island.
Pecan Island, yeah.
Okay,
so it's right up in this area.
All right, so towards the coastline, I'm guessing. I'm just trying to figure out where this area is specific. Okay, so this is the SpaceX area right here, this 136,000 acres. Your issue is that it is all being done, and I don't take issue with this on your part at all. I would have a problem with it too. Your issue is that as a local real estate professional, this is all being done under the table. This is not being done above board the way it typically would. Do I have that right?
Sure. I mean, this is something that is going to create an impact. It doesn't matter which way you slice it, positive or negative. The positive being that it could bring some jobs to the area and that it would provide a huge influx of economy to the area. Okay, those are positive things, but also obvious negative things, and none of it is being discussed out in the open.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I am a big fan. I've said that I have very complicated feelings towards Elon Musk. I do not like the man. I do not like the man at all. I think he seems like he's a culmination of all of the worst things that a human can be in 2026, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a bad human. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's super wealthy. I think he's a terrible human being. I also think that he could be one of the most important or significant human beings who has ever walked the earth. That's why I describe my view of Elon Musk as being complicated. It doesn't have to be all one thing. People are many things. I think he's a bad person, but I do.
Things can be true at the same time.
Yes, they can. I think he's a bad person, but I also have incredible admiration for what he is doing in the world of space exploration. So I have, whenever he talks about, European censorship or Bitcoin or any of this shit,
racism,
I'm like, you're a moron. Get out of here. But when this guy starts talking about space exploration, when he gets into his little autistic zone where, this is all that matters, what he's saying, I think he's a brilliant man. I think he's a genius. And I think that we need somebody like him. I just wish he was more likable. I think that would be the best way for me to sum up my feelings on Elon Musk. Now, I think SpaceX is really important. And if I was a resident of Louisiana, I'd be really excited about this. Do you not see but I mean, what are they talking about? Is this a launch site for SpaceX, or is this just
That's the other problem. Nobody knows. There's nothing that is being publicly shared about exactly what this is. It could be nothing more than a docking site that is midpoint between Boca Chica, Texas, and his Cape Canaveral, Florida, where they have to stop the barges to refill while they're pushing something down the coastline to go to the launch site. Okay, it could be a full-scale rocket testing, building, launching facility of a magnitude we have yet to see. Nobody knows. That is, in and of itself, extremely problematic.
All right, where is Boca Chica? I'm trying to find exactly where, in comparison to Vermilion, this place is. I know it's on the Texas coastline. Is it south of Jackson or south of Galveston? I don't know. All right, hold on. I'll find it here in a minute. I want to get a visual on where they are launching from now and where this new place is.
Yeah. And that is one of the benefits that I outline in my article, is that, this is a midway point between his Texas location and his Florida location. And it is obvious, because the size of these rockets that they produce are so large that they can't be moved from one location to the other by road or rail. Okay, so they do push them along on barges, and barge traffic is a common thing in the state of Louisiana. We are not unaware or unfamiliar with barge traffic. That's a common thing. But like I said, with the location of the Boca Chica site is about 100 acres. Okay, this is many times that size.
Let me ask you this. I know I there does seem to be some backroom type stuff going on, and I fully expect that whenever the world's richest man is involved. But let's talk about the other aspects of this that I think that people who have a problem with it might be leaning into. The environmental aspects here. The idea
huge.
that this is a conservation area. What is being conserved here? You made a great point. This is a buffer region for hurricanes, and it's needed for the survival of places like New Orleans and other places.
The whole state.
Right,
Yeah,
the
I
whole
mean,
state.
it's not just, it's not just
But are
city
we
specific.
protecting, you know, like owls or something like that?
For
Because
sure. Like I said, there's bird sanctuaries that run right beside this huge 136,000 acres.
is
Um,
that an important enough thing to stop us from taking humanity's next great step? This is what weighs on me, because, you know, I always talk about my mother lives on a federally protected wetland and within a sanctuary, and we have all these beautiful animals, and I love going out there. But I mean, I don't know that that's more important than what it is that SpaceX is proposing. Do you think saving a type of bird species or something, or a particular fish, is more important than putting humans on other planets?
I mean, here's the thing. I find it interesting that you're framing it to grain down to one specific bird. I
No,
think that
well, I'm
that's
just in general.
disingenuous.
Okay, so
But
let's say there's 15 species of birds and 20
well, let's
species
say
of
there's
fish.
5,000. I don't think the number matters because it's
Okay.
a multi-layered problem.
Right.
It's not just conservation. It's also way of life. It's also what the residents of this parish have lived their lives by choice to be, because it also includes the fact that just a little bit far north of this area, you're talking about farmers who own thousands of acres of riceland and crawfish farms. And it's not because they're poor white trash and they can't do no better. It's because that's what they want for their lives.
That's what they
And
do.
they are,
It's their culture. It's their 100
it's their
years
entire way
yeah.
of life for generations.
Right.
They are fiercely proud of the fact that they own this property, that it's been passed down from generation to generation. Being a rice and crawfish farmer is a matter of pride for many Louisiana farmers. This is something that they are not thrust upon against their will.
Okay, so let me ask you: is this a manifest destiny situation? Is that what we're talking? We're talking about defending these rice farmers because, you know.
Sure, I think it's a matter of all of these things. That's what I'm saying. It's a multi-layered problem. It's nuanced. It's more than just, should we protect a bird or should we protect a fish? It's also, should we protect our state? But should we also protect its residents for their chosen way of life? You're talking about people who fish for a living, people who shrimp for a living. You're talking about rice farmers, crawfish farmers. You're talking about people who have lived a sleepy country life, who may not want 1,000-ton rockets being launched over the top of their fucking houses. It's many things. It's all the things.
Yeah, and it seems like an accumulation of a bunch of small things that are dwarfed by the prospect of taking humanity where humanity has never gone. That's just how I look at it. Now, I don't believe that this is my attitude on conservation efforts in other areas. Like, this is not a hard and fast rule for me. But when we are talking about where we are right now in space travel, we're at a pretty big moment where we need to do things in order to ensure that the next 50, 100, 150 years of humanity is completely beyond our wildest dreams. And that's kind of how I look at this. This goes back to, like, sailing the 7 seas. When that's all we knew, that's what we did. We sailed the seas and we discovered new lands. Well, now we have the ability to sail the stars. And I just think we need to get back to that. And I think that that is the most important thing that we collectively as humans can be. And if it's going to kill off a bunch of birds and beavers in a specific area, well, okay, we won't do it in all the areas. But I think in this area, the idea of space exploration and what this area can provide to the company that's doing it, outweighs the negatives, you know, the pride of the pecan farmer or whatever it is you were talking about.
I would say to that is easy for you to look at through a lens of someone who may not be personally impacted by that.
Right. Yes. But
So
that's
here's my
manifest
thing.
destiny. That happens to people all the time because
Here's
of
my
the
thing.
greater good. Go ahead.
What I will continue to tag back to is this. If the residents of Vermilion Parish are wildly in favor of this project happening as their new neighbors to the south of them, then give them the opportunity to understand what the project is,
Yeah.
and voice their opinion towards it. Do not hide this. And also, as the state legislature, do not pass laws that are going to support this act or this action until you hear what their opinions are.
Yeah, that
Okay?
that I can agree with you. You and I think that this, I have an issue with it being in back rooms and under the table and not completely publicized. But I think that the people of this area should have an opportunity to vote for this. That's what we are. We're a democracy. So yeah, I'd be fine with that.
You
And-
would certainly think so.
Yeah.
And let them weigh what the cost analysis is, if the juice is worth the squeeze. Because also, the 200 quote unquote jobs that could be created from this plant and the quote unquote 1 billion in infrastructural investment that is being purported as the overriding benefit of this new, foreign entity that our state has never been involved in. We have no quote unquote aerospace technology that exists within our borders, right? We're unfamiliar with these kinds of new, new neighborships that is being created by us. Well, then why is there legislation on the books right now that's already been passed that holds this in favor of the aerospace technology, but also doesn't hold them accountable to the very metrics that they are supposed to offer our state in exchange for huge amounts of tax benefits? So we're giving them money and we're giving them power in our state, but we're not even going to hold them accountable to these exact metrics for over 20 fucking years. Fuck off with this shit. It's just the same stupid ass story that Louisiana politics presents to us as a benefit to this state and a benefit to its residents without actually providing said benefits in a meaningful, reasonable manner. So I do oppose it. And not because I am anti-progress, but because I am anti-bullshit.
All right, but if we can get through the bullshit and this can be presented above board, I would be for it and I would vote as such. All right, thank you. That's a really nice article, and I look forward to reading more from you. What else is happening, however? I wanted to talk to you a little bit. What are your thoughts on the Great American Barbecue? Well, or as I like to call it, Liar Fest, spelled Lyre.
Far be it from me to come off sounding like the petty left.
No, we can have fun with this. This is a train wreck. And I offered on Monday that it was petty for people to be judging a 10 a.m. conversation between Dr. Oz and Dean Cain because there were 5 people in attendance. It was 100 degrees. It was 10 a.m. and it was a Monday. I said, let's wait for the 4th of July weekend before we start talking about how nobody's interested and nobody's going. All right, since then, no more crowds have come on. There's still dead empty. We're going to have to...
Show. It's a horror show.
Yeah.
But also, Pug, you are a former resident of Texas. Since when have you ever seen Texans shy away from the Texas State Fair because of degrees or during the time frames?
No, you're absolutely right. That was a great point. Texas State Fair is jam-packed at 11 a.m. on a random Wednesday when it's functioning. So
people plan their entire vacations around that fair.
Yeah, even by that standard where it's like, well, it's only 11 o'clock here on a Wednesday at the state fair. We got a pretty good crowd. It's going to be 10 times this on Saturday. Even with that metric, the turnout for a weekday afternoon at the Great American Swindle was dead. There's like still only like a handful of people. I mean, nobody is showing up to this thing.
It's okay. Here's what I would say about this thing that we're watching, and I am willing to say that we're getting snipped. Okay, he's clearly, depending on which side of the aisle you caucus with, the snips look you know, what they would like them to look like. You know, I'm okay with that. I understand it, and I'm willing to factor that into my my perspective on it. But it is clearly a thrown together mishmash
Yeah,
of
it's
nothing
terrible.
of any real value to what I would consider anything I would spend my hard-earned money on to go see if I was a DC resident or otherwise.
Uh,
Period.
yeah. So
Literally today, I watched a short clip where that main stage, where it seems to be kind of the center of it all, where there was a trad wife standing up there screaming at 4 young women about marrying early and having babies. So I can only compare this to some sort of bizarre tent revival that is also not getting as many people as tent revivals do.
yeah, the reviews are terrible. I mean, everybody that's there is talking about the prices, how everything is just propaganda. It seems to be a political event. It's not at all an
Yes,
American.
it seems to be. It 100% is. I mean, Trump himself recalled this thing a rally not but a few weeks ago. And
Well,
apparently on July 4th, he plans to get up there and do a very long
yeah.
speech in 107-degree heat. That's going to be interesting. I really hope that he actually hires a real makeup artist to paint his orange color on, because his shit's gonna be melting off his fucking face.
It's gonna, yeah, he's gonna have runny makeup if he thinks he's gonna stay. He ain't gonna give an hour speech in 100-degree temperature, not in his current condition.
He said it today. He
Yeah, I
literally
know he
said
did.
today that
Yeah.
he plans to deliver a very lengthy,
Mhm.
but longer than anything we've ever seen, speech on
Good.
July 4th in 107-degree heat.
Good. I want him. I want this 80-year-old man to get up there and give a 2-hour speech in 100-degree temperature. Can I suggest
That's
he do
gonna be
jumping
one
jacks?
hell of a soggy ass diaper, is all I gotta say.
It is. All right. Thank you, Maddie. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you again. Maybe, well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but you're going to be launching something new on Twitch and I'm going to be joining you. So we need to talk about that when you're ready to do it. You want to set Monday?
Yeah, we're not gonna break down T Swift on her wedding. I was all amped up for some girl wedding talk.
Yeah, no, moving. It's I got to get out of here at a decent time today, so I got more stuff to get. But it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to reading that second article that you put out. I'm going to read that this afternoon, and we'll get back together on Monday because we're going to have a lot of stuff to recap over the weekend. You good for that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely good for that. I think just to tag back for just a second right before we jump off. I also am of the opinion that because of all of the negative coverage and because people are actually getting to see what this whole fair thing kind of looks like, I think that's going to very negatively impact any larger crowd that would have thought, oh, maybe I should go check that out, because they're getting to see firsthand kind of what this thing is already shaping like. And I think that the crowds are going to be even smaller than they probably could have been.
Here's my prediction. There's going to be one day, maybe two, but I think there's going to be one day this weekend where it's going to be big. The crowd is going to be huge. I think that's going to be a manufactured crowd. I think they're going to get the church buses. I think they're going to get all of the different groups to come out to make it look like at least one day was a massive success, because so far it's been pretty embarrassing for people who promoted this as, the great American celebration for our 250th birthday. It seems really stupid. So my prediction is there'll be one day this weekend where there'll be a big crowd, and then the next day there'll be nobody, because that crowd will be manufactured. They will make sure that they have good optics for at least one day, and it's going to be the day of his speech. So whatever day he does his speech,
they're gonna pack the crowd for a speech. I think you're right about that. It's gonna be packed for sure. But it also makes me sad, and I just to be really really heartfelt and genuine for just a second, because what we should get as Americans is a true celebration of our country. And if it is my firm belief that if the original, appointed panel that had been created since 2016 had been truly given the opportunity to put together a 250th birthday celebration that represented our country in a meaningful way, I think we would see something far different than what we are witnessing now. And it quite frankly disheartens me that that is not what we are actually getting to have.
Well, crazy times. We've got an insane propagandist as our president. All right, Maddie, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you. Have a good weekend, okay? And happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Bye, guys.
There she goes, back into the chat room where she will regulate the troublemakers, her and April. Although she's not, she's over on Twitch now. Maddie's going to start a new Twitch show. She's going to do it at night, and I'm going to jump on with her. I'm going to do stuff. Kind of interested in what that's going to be. She's not going to want me, though. I'm a provocateur. I'm going to be provocative. Yeah, quite the provocateur. Me and my 20 listeners every day. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? I wanted to talk about. What else do we want to get into today? We talked about the nonsense concerning the suggestion that we all set our thermostats to 78. That's not crazy. That's not communism. That's normal. That's how I was raised. What else do we need to talk? There's a story here. Well, a couple of stories really quick. Okay, first of all, there's a new poll out that talks about how American pride is at an all-time low. We're still at about 51% of Americans, when polled, in some way said that they were proud of their country, but it's only 51%. That's down from 66% when this was done just 10 years ago. 66% of people, when polled about their level of pride in America, answered either extremely proud or somewhat proud. Today, the amount of people who describe their pride in America as extremely proud or somewhat proud only accumulates to about 51%. So that's got people concerned. Well, we live in incredibly divisive times. And there are a lot of people who are proud Americans who are looking at what's happening and they don't recognize America. So that might be a big reason for it. These are special times. So that poll I thought was interesting. 49% of people are not proud of America. I get it. I get it. We, blew up a girls' school in Iran and ain't nobody talking about that. We got a president who is filling his pockets and his children's pockets with all of our gold, and nobody's talking about that. Americans in general, at least the ones who are allowing this pedophile protector to remain in power, who have completely moved off the Epstein thing, by the way. Can we mention that? I talked to an older Trump supporter a couple of days ago, just somebody I know, somebody that I care about, but they're an older Trump supporter. And I said, this is now, remember, we're now in July. I said to him the last week of June, aren't you even bothered at all by the Epstein stuff? Now, this was a person who used to be very driven by the Epstein stuff. I said to him, aren't you at least bothered by the Epstein stuff and the seeming protection of this entire cabal of child molesters that we now know exist? You know what he said to me? He goes, yeah, I'm not sure that's really a thing that happened. I'm pretty sure. I mean, they settled it. So these casual diehard supporters on the right don't even know, because there hasn't been any new follow-up on the Epstein thing. They're just content now with going through life going, yeah, I guess everything's fine there. I was stunned. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, that's all wrapped up. They released, this is a grown-ass man. They released everything that we were going to see, and, the president wasn't involved, and it's fine. I said, well, what about the Ghislaine Maxwell thing? I actually said they moved her to a minimum security prison. And this person was like, well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Holy fuck. So yeah, I can see how a lot of people, when asked, are you particularly proud of America today? They might go, not really. Not really. I am proud of what this country stood for in World War II. I am proud of what this country stood for during the revolution. We've done a lot of great things. I'm proud of how this country stood up to tyrannical oppression and communism during the Cold War. But no, if I'm being honest, I don't know how proud I am of this country right now. In the whole, the American experiment, if you will, very proud to be a part of it. Not another country in the world I'd like to have been born in. I'm glad to be born here in America. But I think the 250-year history is something that a reasonable person might look at and say, yeah, you know, we've done some pretty fucked up shit. We've also done some great stuff. Like the moon landing. Although half of you assholes on the right don't even want to give us credit for that. That was faked. I'm a Trump supporter. I don't believe in the moon landing. Well, that tracks. That tracks. So yeah, less people than ever before, and ever before. What does that mean? Since Jesus walked in sandals? No, since they were doing these kinds of polls. So the least amount of people since what? The 1980s have pride in America. 51% describe themselves as being either somewhat proud or extremely proud of America. Here's another thing. I don't want to do the story. Never mind. It was a story about weed. Story about weed drinks in the 4th of July, and you know these drinks now. About how people aren't drinking beer at 4th of July. They're just drinking canned weed. She's just stupid. Because if anybody who's had any of the THC or THCA, whatever it is, the weed drinks. Have you had the weed drinks? 100%. Every single weed drink I have tasted tastes like ball sweat. Tastes like rancid ass. So Willie Nelson apparently has this product. It's a bottle. It looks like alcohol. You could put it on your bar next to a bottle of scotch or whatever, and it would look like that. It's got a big, cool picture of Willie in it. And it's like a white, milky substance. It looks like milk, but, you know, you're supposed to treat it like alcohol. It is weed libation, I guess is what we'll call it. I tasted Willie's weed libation, the white, milky stuff. It was terrible. Terrible. Like, not from the standpoint of... it didn't make me vomit or anything, but it's not something that I'd say, oh, I'll have a second sip of that. No, it's just, here's what I thought. So when you pour a shot, because that's how we did it, we're like, let's do a shot, like it's whiskey or tequila or, let's do a shot. So we poured a little shot glass and we both go, and it was like a bad tasting water. There was no carbonation. There was no expected kick, right? Your mind prepares for what it thinks. So when you raise a shot glass of something that is supposed to be an inebriant, you are prepared for some kind of none of that. There's none of that. You're basically just drinking water. It's terrible. Anyway, they're talking about how the $4.5 billion legal, well, here. All right, now we're going to do this story. All right, THC and hemp drink companies, which are $4.5 billion is expected to be spent on this stuff this summer. It is yearly a $25 billion industry now in America, a new industry that, well, has been around less than 10 years because the hemp laws in this country were changed back in 2016. So there is this $25 billion industry now that didn't exist. It's the hemp THC industry that comes in drinks, and, edibles are also mentioned here. But this story is particularly about the drinks and how people are filling their 4th of July coolers with these drinks. And the problem is that this entire $25 billion industry is going to be ended by the pro-business right wing in power because it gets you high. That's right. It is expected to go away. The entire industry, again, a $24 billion industry of people who make weed sodas, weed beers, weed whatever. $25 billion, $4.5 billion to be spent this summer. It's going away. It is going away on November 12th. $26 billion new industry is going away because we don't like people getting high, because we don't want you to be able to drink your high. Freedom, because freedom. Jesus. This impending regulation, says here, will go into effect on November 12th, 2026. The impending regulation was quietly added to a provision, Section 781 of the Public Law 119-37, to the federal budget bill that ended the government shutdown. So they slipped it in. It is causing massive panic across the $24 billion newly established American hemp industry. The upcoming law completely redefines what can legally be sold as hemp under federal law. While it is technically just a restriction rather than an absolute ban, its microscopic threshold acts as an outright ban on almost all existing consumer THC drinks and edible brands. So there you have it. Enjoy your THC drink or edible or whatever it is that you're going to have this 4th of July in place of your beer. $26 billion industry going away, because remember, the liberals are the anti-business people. This is nonsense. You are allowing the religious, teetotaling, anti-freedom wing of your MAGA world to make this decision, and they're going to tank a $26 billion new industry in this country. Good work, MAGA. Good work. Because Jesus, is that what we're doing? Here's a sad thing that I wanted to mention. We talked about this 2 weeks ago when she passed away. The sad case of Davi Chase. Davi Chase is an actress. She was in, I know her from Donnie Darko, but you may know her as Lilo from the Lilo and Stitch franchise. Here she is. Look, she's a beautiful young woman, 35 years old, child actress. She died a couple of weeks ago. We told you all about it. She died of AIDS. What? Why would I? That's not even appropriate. How about, no, that's not a good, how about no sound effects? 35 years old. She died of AIDS on the streets of Los Angeles. And here's the kicker. She had been living on the streets as a junkie for on and off for the last number of years. She didn't have to. She had money. There was money. And I don't know if this is an Amanda Bynes situation where Amanda Bynes has two things going on. She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and she's a junkie. In the case of Davi Chase, it seems to only be spoken of that she was a junkie. She just turned into a junkie. And despite the fact her agent was she had job opportunities. She was a very, I'm not going to say in demand, but she was a top tier voice actress. Not, you don't know their faces, but you know their voices. Lilo and Stitch was huge. And anyway, it's a very sad story. There's a GoFundMe for her, and I was reading another story. I'm like, why is there a GoFundMe for her? It says that she's got money. She's got money from residuals. Here's what I wanted. I was shocked by the AIDS. I was shocked by this 35-year-old woman in 2026 dying of AIDS because I just didn't think that was a thing anymore. I thought that AIDS was a disease that could now be managed. Magic Johnson's 70, right? Magic Johnson has had AIDS. I think Magic Johnson has had AIDS or HIV positive. Excuse me. It's not the same thing. Full-blown AIDS. We know Davi Chase died of full-blown AIDS after being HIV positive. But we've seen that when you are diagnosed as HIV positive now, there is a way to manage your life. It is not the death sentence that it once was. So I was shocked by that. Shocked to learn Davi Chase, the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, has now been determined she died of AIDS on the streets of Los Angeles. She was living on Skid Row. Didn't need to. Everybody's like, she didn't need to. She definitely had enough for an apartment and a car and stuff like that. I mean, there was Lilo and Stitch money. She had money. Junkie. Drugs make you do this. Here is something that I wanted to talk about. The AIDS subject. Okay. I lived through the AIDS subject. AIDS destroyed my generation's sexual development completely. You know, I talk about my son's generation, Gen Z, and we call them the canary in the coal mine because they were a generation that never knew anything but screen time, right? They're the first generation, the current generation of, I don't know, if you're between 10 and 25, whatever Gen Z is, you are a generation who never knew a world without the option of on-demand entertainment, screen time, iPads, phones. They're crying, give them the phone, let them play a game. There's always some kind of entertainment. There's always something for this generation to get their dopamine up with. Always something. So that, I believe, has changed them. Right now, from my perspective, as somebody who's older, who grew up in a different world, I look at it and I clutch my pearls and I think, oh my God, this change is terrible. But truthfully, we don't know. Maybe this is just the new evolution. Maybe we're the ones that are going to be, I don't know. We can be hopeful and we can hope that that's the case, but doesn't change the fact that this is the first generation to have to live their life that way. And it's, again, as I say, we did it to them. It's not like they came out of the womb going, give me an iPad. No, we did it. We got them trained and hooked and all that stuff. By that same token, my generation, Gen X, our generation's sexual development was completely destroyed by AIDS. Completely. The generation that preceded us, well, they were the 70s stoner, free love, cocaine disco generation where sex was sex and sex and it was all happening and they had the pill and women could have sex now and there was some liberation. The generation before that was the hippies, the free love generation and all that. Well, then came us. Then came Gen X. And just as my generation was getting horny, just as we were starting to venture out into the sex world, sex became a death sentence. AIDS popped up I was like 12, 13. My entire life, whether I was, in my late teens or into my 20s, there was no such thing as sex without a condom. Everybody used a condom. That was just mandatory. So we never had good sex. It was all condom sex. And then we always had to worry about blood tests. And oh my God, because what we were told of AIDS in the 1980s was that it was a death sentence and that anybody could get it from having sex. Or at least that's where because this is what I want to talk about. We were, anybody could get it after a few years, right? That was the idea. Anyway, I think that the sexual development of Generation X was severely stifled because our sexual awareness, our sexual years coincided with the rise of AIDS in America, where suddenly sex wasn't great and pleasurable and maybe for some people dirty and naughty, but no, it became something incredibly serious where you're going to die. You're going to wither away in a hospital bed because you had sex. That was my generation. That's what happened to Gen X. Now, the next generation, millennials, they had Magic Johnson in the AIDS cocktail and everybody went, oh, AIDS is all right. And all of a sudden, millennials are doing butt sex. That was never even on the menu for my generation or the previous ones. But millennials, they went sexually nuts. Chicks making out with chicks in bars. That was all stuff that I believe came because of the decade-plus stifling of American sexuality due to the AIDS crisis. And it was my generation. My generation got not screwed. We got screwed, not screwed. You know what I mean? So I want to talk to you about something that I'm watching that sort of fits in with this whole thing. It's a new documentary on HBO Max, called Bang My Box, the Robin Bird story. Robin Bird is a sex activist who was on New York City cable TV starting in like the early 80s, went all the way through the 90s. Major fans she has. Not only does she have like a whole bunch of fans, anybody who had like cable access in New York City in this time, they would tune in to watch the Robin Bird show every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I think it is. But superstars, like celebrity superstars in New York City, were obsessed with Robin Bird. Robin Bird did a sex show on community access cable TV. She had porn stars on. She did the show in a bikini. There was nudity. There was full frontal. There was no sex, nothing that would cross that line to pornography. But there was a whole lot of nudity. There was a whole lot of really detailed conversation about sex and sex acts and whatever. It became a phenomenon in New York. Robin Bird. It's called Bang My Box. It's her story of how she became this sort of icon of New York City. Now, you probably wouldn't know who she is if you didn't live in New York City. Or Howard Stern show. I think Howard Stern made her very famous. Opie and Anthony used to talk about her a lot too. But anyway, I didn't really know much about her. I just knew the name, and I knew how culturally significant that she is, especially in New York, but also to sexual awareness, to people being comfortable talking about the subject and topics that surround sexuality. She's very important for that stuff. And it's a great documentary. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in detail in a second. But I do want to draw a correlation to the Davy Chase dying of AIDS thing and how I believe that, AIDS completely ruined my generation, and I can't believe it's back. Robin Bird was very big in the gay community. The gays of New York loved her show. And because she started to realize that there was a lot of gay men who was watching her otherwise heterosexual, sex positive kind of show, she began to feature gay performers and gay men in playing to the gay audience. It wasn't a gay show. It was a sex show. And any kind of sex was on the Robin Bird show. But they covered her role in the 1980s when AIDS blew up and how her TV show became this place where gay men in New York City, learned about stuff. And she became an educator almost. And she was really pushing the condom thing. And anyway, there's this whole segment of the documentary Bang My Box about how she behaved during the AIDS crisis, how she didn't shun these people, how she embraced them, how she sought to educate people who wanted to shun these people. It's really pretty beautiful. And when you watch the documentary, you're like, this is a good woman. This is a good human being. I don't give a shit that she's very sexual. I don't give a shit that some more pious people might look at her and call her a whore. She's actually a really good human being. And you can tell that by the way she carries herself. But they talked about AIDS and they played a whole bunch of news reports from the early days of AIDS, some from the first report. I don't know if you've ever seen the first report of AIDS where they talked about some disease, some flu. They called it the gay flu because it was affecting exclusively gay men who frequented the San Francisco bathhouse scenes. That before we had a name, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, it was known as the gay flu, or later gay cancer, when everybody started to die. The coverage, Tom Brokaw, they showed a Tom Brokaw report on AIDS from the mid-1980s. And Tom Brokaw on NBC News referred to AIDS as a lifestyle disease. And I winced a little. I was like, okay, lifestyle disease. By 2026, doesn't that seem a little... AIDS is not a disease that you just get. AIDS is a disease that you get based upon the lifestyle that you lead. That's kind of like what they were saying. That was kind of the narrative back in 1985. I don't know that that's the narrative anymore. And, primarily because AIDS got into the blood donor system and it made its way into non-homosexual circles and started to spread within junkies. And now anybody can get AIDS. Don't kid yourself. Anybody can get it. But in 1985, when Tom Brokaw said that, nobody winced. Today, me watching it after all these years, I winced. I was like, oh, what do you mean lifestyle disease? That seems a little bit homophobic, doesn't it? But it wasn't it? AIDS was a lifestyle disease. A lifestyle that you chose is why you got this disease. A heterosexual truck mechanic who lives in central Indiana, who has a wife, and maybe he's a philanderer, maybe he's running around and got a bunch of mistresses on the side, but it's all heterosexual, might be duplicitous and shady, but it's heterosexual. That person in 1983 was not at risk of getting AIDS. You were at risk of getting AIDS if you had unprotected sex with another gay person. So I've been thinking a lot the last couple of days about how I feel about that, about how the programming of the past 30 years caused me to wince when I heard in 1985 Tom Brokaw call AIDS a lifestyle disease. I went, oh, that seems homophobic, but it is true, isn't it? I'm not trying to be mean or hurtful, but AIDS didn't come out of just random society. AIDS came out of a very specific subculture, a lifestyle. And again, I say that this doesn't matter anymore because now if you get AIDS, first of all, if you get AIDS now, there is the cocktail. It's not a death sentence. You can live with it. It's probably incredibly inconvenient. It is probably no fun having to take whatever the pills are. I think maybe they've gotten the cocktail down from like 300 pills every 15 minutes to like 1 pill a day, right? Isn't that where we are now? But I just thought that was so interesting that the reality is, no matter how antithetical to our pro-gay brothers and sisters we may be, because I am very much fine with somebody. I don't care who you're sleeping with, right? I've got gay friends. I've had gay friends for 30 years. I've worked in entertainment. But the idea that when I heard Tom Brokaw from 1985 on the news call AIDS a lifestyle disease, that I winced, and that's programming. It's wrong. It's propaganda. AIDS was absolutely a lifestyle disease. Absolutely. You had to be gay. In the beginning, it was gay cancer. You had to have been hanging out in the San Francisco. I mean, they know the history of AIDS. They know where it started. It started in America in the bathhouses in San Francisco. It was begun, or they believe Patient X or Patient Zero was a Toronto-based flight attendant who did a lot of stuff in Africa, I guess. That's the Patient Zero, and that person went to a bathhouse in San Francisco and infected a bunch of people, and those people infected a whole bunch of other people. It was a lifestyle disease, and I don't know if that's as accusatory as maybe I took it. Maybe it's just a fact, but it is another example of, I think, where the facts go against what you want to be true, so you treat the facts like it's slander. But Tom Brokaw was right in 1985. I think it was a lifestyle disease. All right, so now let's talk about the show that educated a whole bunch of people, certainly those in New York City, about the AIDS crisis. I want to talk about what we were just mentioning, the Robin Bird documentary. Robin Bird, Bang My Box. It's on HBO Max. She is a sex advocate, a sex activist. She's a lot of fun. She's really fun. Although here's the thing. I was like looking at it because I'd never seen Robin Bird, right? I'd never seen the show. I'd only heard tale of it because I didn't live in New York and have access to Manhattan cable back in the mid 80s and 90s. I don't think she's hot. Like there's like I remember Howard Stern going, "Oh, Robin Bird is so hot," right? I remember him saying that, and I'd never seen her, so I had this image. She's a pretty girl. She's a pretty girl, but she's not like porn star hot. Turns out she was actually in Debbie Does Dallas. She did dabble in porn in the 1970s before striking fame as a Manhattan cable television host. She was like, I don't know. They talk about it in the documentary. You'll see it. They talk about her role in Debbie Does Dallas. All right, here. This is what where is it? Bang My Box, the Robin Bird documentary. This is her. It's a lot of fun. If you're looking for something to watch over the weekend and you're interested in this kind of thing, hold on, this is not going to work. Oh, geez, Louise. All right, here it is. My television viewing pick to click for you. HBO Max, Bang My Box, the documentary about Robin Bird, the sex activist from New York in the 1980s and 70s.
Hi, I'm Robin Bird. I'm Robin Bird. Live back.
We always walked around the village at night. We see these red lights in the window. It was the Robin Bird Show. Everybody know, I was the first woman to bring adult programming to television. We were on Wednesday night at midnight. Because it's hump day. Here's my costume. Here's my crochet bikini. It's a crochet bikini. It's stretched out all right. Nope, doesn't smell. New York's best kept secrets, Robin Bird. He was hosting the ultimate underground party.
Robin fought like hell for the gay community.
She's an accidental activist. Why are you loading on?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Destroy these tapes?
Worth a lot to myself and my husband.
When Robin began, it was just a modest show for her neighbors. But when your neighborhood is New York, everyone ends up watching.
This administration is putting the purveyors of pornography beyond notice.
They think it's decent.
The human body is not indecent.
We were all fighting for the same thing. Free speech. I had this platform. That's what it was made for.
So much, Robin.
All righty, there you have it. Very interesting. She's it's crazy because it's all this video of her when she was young and pretty and all this stuff, and then most of the movie is her now at 70 years old going through her archives because some college like Harvard or something has asked for her archives. They want to, which is quite an honor. That's a pretty big deal. She's going through the archives, and her husband, she's been married to the same guy since 1980. What was his name? I can't remember his name. I don't know, but he's also going through, he has dementia. So he's starting to forget things. The moments in this documentary between this old sex whore lady and her husband of 40, 50 years now or something, is just beautiful. It's so nice. She comes off as such a nice old lady. She comes off as just someone that is so cool. She's very smart. She's super quick. And her story's amazing. So if you're looking for something fun to watch, that is also, you're going to watch this like I did. You're going to watch this and you're going to be like, wait a second. This was on free cable TV. This was on community access TV. They're giving blowjob instructions with a dildo. What? It was crazy. It's crazy what they were able to do. And she also fought for the right to be able to do that. Time Warner tried to cancel her show. There was this big move by the moral majority at some point to get rid of pornography and all that. What she was doing wasn't pornography. It wasn't pornography. It was dirty. It was titillating and it was naughty, but it wasn't pornography. There is a difference. We know this. It was just interesting. She fought all the way to the Supreme Court to defend her right to do this show on cable access, and she won. I mean, very good, very, very interesting story. The Robin Bird story, Bang My Box. Bang My Box is her song. She wrote a song that she closed every show with. And it's bad and it's cheesy and it's stupid, but it's, it became a part of the show. Bang My Box. Anyway, it's stupid. She seems like a very nice lady. I'm watching this and I'm like, God, she is a wonderful woman. Like, even at 70 years old, you see her walking down the streets of New York and everybody's like, Robin. Like, she's famous. Like, people in New York know who she is. And she's so wonderful about it. Also, you'll watch like the first hour of it, and she is in a Manhattan apartment that she has lived in for like 70 years, and it is filled with bullshit. She's like a hoarder. She's just got every tape of every show that she's ever done, and there are thousands, and they're everywhere. And her husband has dementia, and he's wandering around, and he's so cute. And he's just like, he loves her so much, and he's so cute. And he's just wandering, and it's a mess. And I'm watching this, and I'm going, this is sad, because this woman is an icon. Why is she living so decrepitly in a shitty Manhattan apartment? Well, turns out that apartment's on Fifth Avenue. So the rent on that apartment is probably 15 grand a month. And then they go to her summer home. She's got a summer home on Fire Island. Yeah, she's got a mansion on the ocean. So she's okay. It's just her in-town home. The one in Manhattan, that's the one where she spends most of her time. That's the shitty little apartment. But I got to tell you, she's done well for herself, because that house that she lives in on Fire Island that she's lived on for 40 years is baller. It is a baller beach house. Bang My Box, the Robin Bird story. That's my pick to click. Enjoy if you're looking for something cool to watch this weekend. All right, let's move into 3 videos. Let's do 3 videos here. 3 videos that I find somewhere on the interwebs, and I want to talk about them. We're not going to do the weird sex trend. I want to skip over that now. I'm not in the mood. I told you that I was going to tell you about the new racist sex trend. All right, here's what it is. We'll cover it more in detail, and I'll, bring it back tomorrow. Here's what it is. White dudes are paying black girls, black sex workers, to be able to treat them or basically live out racist fantasies. And they're okay with it. The sex workers are all right. It's just a weird story. It's becoming very popular, and it's a whole video genre apparently. And but yeah, it's like white guys are buying prostitutes, not just to be prostitutes. They're buying them so that he can treat them like, use the N-word and all. It's just we're so broken as people. You can see why I don't want to really do that today. I think we've had a nice day. We've talked to a number of people. It's been a long show. We're already bearing down on our 3rd hour. So we're going to skip that one. Let's do 3 videos. We're going to do 2 videos. We're going to do 2 videos because one of them, did you see the pit video of the UPS driver who threw the box at the dog and it hit 30-pound box? He's delivering a UPS thing. Well, I could show it to you, but instead I'm telling you. He's delivering a UPS package, and the dog charges at him, and he throws the 30-pound box at the dog, and the dog goes, bark, 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 and the dog is obviously hurt. I don't want to get into it. There is a conversation to be had about whether or not he did the right thing. He was delivering a package that was ordered to this location, and upon entering the property, a dog got off the leash and came running at him. So I just don't want to do that now. Maybe we'll do it some other time. I've been also using this little 3 videos segment to we've been looking at some old rock stars. That's right. Started with the whole Frankie Valli thing. Frankie Valli died a couple of years ago, but he's still on tour, and your aunt can go see him at the local casino. They're trotting him out there, Hannibal Lecter style, on a dolly, and he's doing Who Loves You, Pretty Baby, and Walk Like a Man. All that stuff, he died years ago, but Frankie Valli is still out there selling tickets. Rod Stewart, we showed you Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart was in the middle of a concert just the other night, and he had to stop in the middle of the song and then order his people to bring out the oxygen, and he had to have a little puff. These British rock stars, haven't these guys been smoking like 4 packs of cigarettes since they're 5 years old? Doesn't everybody in England come out of their mother smoking a cigarette? And Southeast Asia. Everyone in Southeast Asia starts smoking multiple packs at like 2-3 years old. England and Southeast Asia. Anyway, Rod Stewart's got to hit the puffer, the inhaler, the oxygen tank in between songs. He was singing Young Turks, right? Wasn't that it? Was that Young Turks? Yeah, whatever. I don't even know how that song goes. But he was singing. He had to stop, and so we watched that. How about this? I've got an 80-year-old rock star for you. An 80-year-old rock star up on stage at 80 years old doing an 80-year-old rock star thing. And would you call me a liar if I told you it's fucking great? I mean, it can be done. Frankie Valli, I suppose we could say he's milking it. He's probably not giving the fans the return that they expect, but whatever. They're having a good time. Rod Stewart, I'm sure Rod Stewart's fine. That was probably just a one-off. But this person, who I'm going to show you here, I'd pay for this concert. I would go see. Now I know that if they came through town, I would see 80-year-old Deborah Harry and Blondie. Let's check this out. This is pretty cool. Because again, we've seen Frankie Valli and we've seen Rod Stewart. Now let's check out 80-year-old Debbie Harry live performance. All right, I got to kill the music for a little bit. Otherwise, YouTube will be like, you can't play that music. So we wait for a second. All right, if I bought a ticket to see Blondie, knowing full well that I'm going to get an 80-year-old Deborah Harry, as I'm buying the ticket, I know that, I'm getting an 80-year-old Deborah Harry. This 80-year-old Deborah Harry, I'll take. This is pretty great. This is not a problem. Let's check it out. All right, I got no complaints. Debbie Harry, still cool as shit. You can keep going, lady. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You're 80. You're 80. I expect you to not, that's better than what I would have expected. Good for her. Good for her. All right. Let's see. What's the other one? Oh, yeah. Here's this one. Boop, 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 boop. What am I looking for here? Yeah, this one. All right. So this, I want to have a little conversation about this. And I want the chat room to react. I'll even wait. I want to see what the chat room thinks of this. This is an audio recording. Apparently, a guy and a girl went on a first date. And after the first date, the guy called to, I guess, inquire about the second date. And he was pretty forward. He was pretty straight up. He was pretty direct and to the point about what he was interested in. And let's watch. And then I want to hear you respond to it. Tell me, what do you think of this?
All right, I figured I'd send you a voice note. Easier than texting all this. Anyway, had a good time tonight. Definitely think you are lovely. However, I would love if we're gonna go to your place on Thursday. I am looking to have that.
I don't know why they ruined this shit with music. Did you hear the music that was added to the background? What the hell?
Physical intimacy.
There you go.
However, I would love.
Hold on, wait. He's talking about the second date.
All right, I figured I'd send you a voice note. Easier than texting all this. Anyway, had a good time tonight. Definitely think you are lovely. However, I would love if we're gonna go to your place on Thursday. I am looking.
Doesn't it kind of seem like he's like, hey, had a good time tonight. You passed my test. I think you're lovely. It's got a very, I don't know. That was the first thing that I took from it. That it's got a very, okay. So I was interviewing you today. Well, you thought it was a first date, but it was actually an interview to see whether or not I want to fuck you on the second date. And you're lovely. I just want you to know that. I mean, it is weird, right?
Anyway, had a good time tonight. Definitely think you are lovely. However, I would love if we're gonna go to your place on Thursday. I am looking to have that physical intimacy. To see if I am sexually compatible with you. So if I'm gonna come over, I would be hoping to hook up, have sex, have a good time, have romantic spark in that physical spark there for my own sake. It's hard for me to continue dating someone and seeing them if I don't.
And I don't want to waste his time. He's being completely above board here. He doesn't want to waste his time. He's like, look, you're hot. We went on a first date, and I get it. I don't get laid on the first date, but I just want to let you know I'm interested in a second date, but I expect to get laid. And if that's not going to happen, then I think we should just part friends. Good? I mean, that's what this guy's doing here. And I'm really put off by the matter-of-factness in which this guy is making the statement, while simultaneously being like, good for him. God, good for him. This is, we need more of this. Cut through the bullshit.
So continue dating for my own sake. Because it's hard for me to continue dating someone and seeing them if I don't know if I'm sexually compatible. So I know you said I don't know. So like, I guess my thing is what would be the point of me coming over then if we're not gonna
bang? What's the point of me coming over if we're not gonna bang? I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit about you, your thoughts, how your life. I just want to have sex with you. And what would the point be? There is something so refreshing about this guy's straightforward. It's an ask. He's making an ask. Hey, gotta shoot your shot.
I know you said I don't. So like, I guess my thing is what would be the point of me coming over then if we're not gonna hook up and
Well, for a normal person, the point might be, just a nice night. You don't need to rush things. Find out if you truly like this person. What he's doing, what he's revealing about himself, and this is where the disconnect is, I think, between the woman who posted this. A woman posted this like, I'm going to be single forever. Men are terrible. The disconnect here is that the woman is in the dating scene to find her soulmate. Probably, right? That's, I guess that's not a terrible thing, but that is what I imagine her view of this is. I'm looking for a guy and we can take it slow and I want to fall in love. That's not what his goal is. This is a guy, he's not looking to find somebody to fall in love with. He's looking for regular sex. And I don't think either one of these people are necessarily terrible. I don't think he's terrible. I think they're incompatible. If the girl who, got this message from him thinks that this is a little bit, as I do, as a little bit too entitled, a little bit too just straightforward. No bullshit. We like no bullshit, but a relationship is supposed to be muddled with, romantic gesture and nonsense and all of that. You build to the climactic conclusion, which is sex. This guy's an expediter. This guy is trying to get rid of all of that stuff. I don't think he's a bad guy. Women, if you read the comments here and there's, women think he's the worst. I don't think he's a bad guy. He sounds like a nice guy who was being absolutely direct. And that is something that you women always say you want from us. It is not what you want from us, because this is what direct sounds like. This is what, this is what a guy who's running a fantasy football league sounds like when he's talking to the other dudes in the league. Very direct, no bullshit. Why are we wasting each other's time? If you are looking for this to develop into some long-term relationship where we're going to be buried next to each other in 70 years, well, I'm out on that. I'm looking for sex. And to that end, I'm going to come over tomorrow for our second date. I expect sex. And if you're telling me that we're not going to have it, then I say, let's just pull the plug on the whole thing, because what's the point? Am I right? I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but I kind of admire it.
Roll and be intimate with each other. And if that's what you don't want, that's fine. But I think we should just end it here then, respectfully. Respectfully. First date, that's fine. You want to get to know each other. I'm all about that. But I am looking to have that physical aspect there. And I don't want to continue seeing someone if I don't know if that's good.
This is kind of socially retarded, though, isn't it? This is like this is kind of socially retarded. This is somebody who is trying to expedite a situation that is typically not expedited. Now, hot people, they just hook up and they have sex. And maybe these are two hot people. I don't know. Maybe she is going to wait till the third date. I don't know what the standard is today. Back in my day, it was, I wasn't attractive. So back in my day, my reality might have been like 5 or 6 dates. Whereas like handsome people might have been like third or fourth. But second date, first of all, I think that's crazy. Expecting sex on a second date. Again, maybe he's hot. Maybe that's not my experience. Because as someone who is not hot, I would never have expected sex on a second date. continue.
that's not there or not. So up to you. Let me know. I'm happy to. If you do want me to come over, I'm happy to do.
Yeah, if you want me to come over and just lay some pipe and then leave.
So we'd love to fuck, have a good time, and we can have some wine, hang out, chill. But if you're not trying to hook up, then we should just go our separate ways.
All right, there you have it. That's romance, Gen Z romance. They're probably young people, right? That's what I would think. I mean, obviously they're younger than me, but all right. Barney says, I understand his point of view, but also see why most women would pass. Yeah. Well, now a woman, if he's an attractive guy and a woman's horny, she won't pass. She'll just keep it quiet. She just won't let people, she's not going to post that. But women have sexual desires too. And attractive men can do that. They can shoot. And that's why I think maybe his level of confidence and straightforwardness suggests to me that he is very handsome. That he's very handsome and that, he gets whatever he wants, whenever he wants sexually. Because I can't imagine any man with any humility or any kind of, I don't know, insecurity. I can't imagine any normal guy would be that comfortable after a first date. But there we have it. Let's see here. Maddie says, I think there's this much broader problem here in that it's obvious this guy is trying to close the deal. Sounds very salesy, but also it's obvious he measures the worth of the woman and the potential relationship from sex only, but clearly has zero. Okay, so that is interesting. It's obvious he measures the worth of the woman and the potential relation. You're conflating two things. I don't think he is measuring this for a potential relationship. That's where the disconnect between these two people are. He states fairly clearly he's just looking to hook up. And, if they can be friends and all that, that's fine. But sex is all he wants. I think the woman is the one who is going on these dates looking for someone that maybe there'll be a spark. Maybe, who knows? Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks movie. Rom-com stuff. That's not what he's into. So he's trying to close the sale. So yeah, I agree, Maddie. He's just out there like a salesman. I don't know why it's not coming up. There it is. She also says hot has zero to do with this because I have had very mediocre men present this exact same scenario to me as realistic. All right, I'm just telling you. Hot men are way more comfortable with this stuff. All right, that's it. That's three because I didn't want to play the first one. I didn't want to get into it. Dog. I don't want to see it. I don't think we need to watch a video of a dog getting hurt. How about we turn our attention to Can't Beat Fun at the old ballpark? I like to show you a little something from one of the baseball fields in this great land of ours. Baseball, the American pastime. Not anymore. It's football. You can call baseball the American pastime and all that stuff all you want. Doesn't make it true. It's football. NFL football is America's pastime. That changed about 25 years ago, maybe 26, somewhere around 2000. Stop pretending baseball. My kid likes baseball. He likes the White Sox. He doesn't seem to like baseball. Like he has no interest in watching any other teams or care about any. He doesn't have any interest. He lives in North Texas, Dallas. He doesn't have any interest in the Rangers, but he's very, very into the White Sox. Knows everything about the White Sox. Watches every game, which is fine with me. I'm good with that. Football, however, Jesus, seriously, it's like living with Schefter. It's like he knows everything that is happening in football. Anyway, Can't Beat Fun at the old ballpark. I like to expose the beauty of America's great game. And here's a very nice one. Watch this. This isn't from one of our major league stadiums or one of our minor league parks. This comes to us from, the neighborhoods. This is a high school baseball team. Okay, now we're not going to watch high school baseball. Don't worry about it. This is just a nice little thing. A tradition that apparently they do at this high school for graduating seniors on the baseball team. They They bring out all of the kids wear the uniforms, the graduating seniors at this high school. The kids wear the uniforms, and then one of their parents pitches them, batting practice. As you can see, this is like this kid's dad. He's standing behind the fence here. So it's a tradition at this school where the parents of the senior graduating players come out and pitch them their last at bat. So the kids get a chance to homer off their parents, right? And then as they're rounding the bases or whatever it is, however this tradition works, it's just really cool to watch. As they're rounding the bases, then maybe the other parent, if there is another parent available, stands at home plate waiting for the kid to come around the bases. And while that's happening, and we're not going to be able to hear it because the audio isn't great, you'll be able to hear something. You won't be able to hear the words. But as he's rounding the bases, the PA announcer reads a letter from the parent to the child. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Here you have it. This is your Can't Beat Fun at the Old Ballpark. Again, these are graduating seniors getting to take their last at-bats off their parents, and this is how this particular high school honors graduating seniors. Cranked it! Cranked it off, Dad! Don't bring that weak sauce, Dad! He cranked that! That was pretty nice! Get that shit out of here, Dad! All right, so you can't hear, maybe you can kind of. You can hear the PA announcer is reading a letter that his mom wrote to him. It's so sweet.
We are extremely proud of you and eagerly await your next adventure. However, to us, you will always be that little boy bearing no responsibility and I hope that
once again, the fucking music ruins this. Wouldn't it be nice if the music wasn't there and we could actually hear what the mother wrote about the son as he's standing right in front of her?
you will always be that little boy bearing no responsibility and I hope that it's a little too big, but excited and keep on passion.
Do you think Mom intentionally wore this outfit to match the son's uniform? I think yes. Although God does work in mysterious ways, so who knows?
Senior number 9, Parker McGee.
Parker McGee. You can't beat Fun at the Old Ballpark. That's amazing. All right, folks, one more time, thank you all so much for indulging me today. We've done it again, another day in the books. I'm expecting to be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to do a show tomorrow for like 3 of you. Like nobody's going to be in their regular schedules. Everybody's going to be out doing things, but I'll be here doing this show. Why? Because we never sleep around here. And by the way, if you would like to add your name, I'll mention it one more time. Add your name to the Wall of Fame, the July Heroes. Maddie, Peter, Barney. Love to get one more as we head into this 4th of July weekend. Support the show. Support this kind of talk radio. It's non-political. It's non-partisan. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm trying to advocate the ideas and the wants of the working class American. We do it here every day. So if you want to help this show in any way that you can, please do. Pick up the phone. I almost just said pick up the phone. I'm so old. I suck. Cash App or Venmo will help support the show. All right, guys, we're done. I've got a very big baseball game to prepare for here in the next couple of hours. I've got to cook dinner. I'd like to eat dinner before the game. Game starts at 5:40 Central Time. You gotta get it. All right, I gotta make dinner. All right, we're gonna make dinner. I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going to have like a 4:30 dinner tonight. We're going to eat like old people. But we will be back tomorrow. I'm going to do a show tomorrow. Unless, of course, at 10 a.m. tomorrow, something comes up and you'll see a post that says, sorry, guys, I'm not doing a show. But I have every intention of doing a show. Got to. All right. Thank you to Maddie. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you to all of you, my chickens in the coop. I love that. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Folks, remember, don't be a dick. Just stop being dicks. Stay neighborly.